What's up, everybody? Good morning and happy Thursday, July 30th. Appreciate you making us a part of your start. If you're up and at it, whether you are listening on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM, streaming us up online at sportstalk1051.com. Got your app, the Wisco Sports App, your smart devices like your Alexa devices, and the video stream also up and rolling here this morning. Multiple different ways for you to be tuning in on this Thursday morning as we start to wrap up the month of July and I'll wrap up another work week here. All right, what do we have on the game plan for us this morning? Well, not a great game yesterday for the Brewers in a series finale against the Giants. Brewers falling 16-3, a little bit of a kind of a football score there. But Giants jumped out to a 3-0 lead. Garrett Mitchell dropped that fly ball in center. That's kind of allowed the Giants to put up 3 runs. Brewers inch back, 3-2. Heading into the bottom of the 6th inning. But 7 runs by the bottom of the 6th inning and by the Giants, and that kind of put it out of hand there at that point. So nonetheless, Brewers falling, so they dropped that series to the Giants and have the off day today before beginning a 3-game series against the Angels coming up starting tomorrow. However, we've got trade rumors heating up. Trade rumors are heating up big time right now surrounding the Brewers and one Tarik Skubal. We're going to go through now there's a couple of different insiders, analysts out there that are going a little bit of the opposite approach here. But, hey, if you are a Brewers fan that wants Tarik Skubal, you might like some of these rumors that are floating out there. We'll tell you about that coming up here in just a little bit. But yesterday we talked about, okay, if you had to include a starting pitcher, would you throw in Logan Henderson? If it takes like a Logan Henderson to do it, would you do it? But there's maybe some other names we can float out there. Now, Made, from all accounts, doesn't sound like it's happening. Like, Brewers are letting it be known that it's not happening with Made. Not going to happen in any form, fashion, whatever. But would you include Pena? Now, would you include Luis Pena and Andrew Fisher? Those two plus maybe like one of them I heard. Luis Pena, Andrew Fisher, and Brandon Sproat. Would you give up those 3 guys, those 3 players, for Tarik Skubal? I got to admit, that's probably too rich for my blood. I mean, Andrew Fisher is, for all the talk that the Brewers have needed a corner infielder with some power, I don't want to see Andrew Fisher go. I don't want to see that kid go. I mean, this year alone in the minor leagues, he has hit 33 dingers, 33 home runs. His OPS is a 1.096. We've seen him perform on a high stage at the World Baseball Classic. I don't want to see Andrew Fisher a part of that deal. That, to me, would be a little too rich. But considering the depth that that the Brewers have, maybe at the other infield spots up the middle, is a guy like Luis Pena expendable? We're getting down to crunch time here, baby. So Jeff Passan did say that he put it out there. Tigers are going to trade Skubal the next day or a couple days here. So maybe it's going to happen sooner rather than later. To help us break down all the latest and greatest with the Brewers, Hunter Baumgardt is going to be joining us at 9:05 this morning. So we'll get his take, his thoughts on not only the current state of the Brewers after dropping the series against the Giants, but the latest in the Brewers rumors sweepstakes. So lots of baseball talk here, lots of Brewers talk here this morning. Also on the docket, day one of training camp is in the books for the Packers. Day one, and we already had a couple guys coming off the PUP list, like Aaron Banks, Nazir Stackhouse practiced, and he was initially on the PUP list. So, but I want to go. I know we kind of did it live towards the end of the program yesterday. Kind of go through some of the comments from Goody and LaFleur ahead of that practice. Kind of rehash that, and just kind of, I know we kind of joked about overreaction, but if you want to have a little fun with this and do a little Thursday overreaction after training camp practice numero uno, you can. But Keyshawn Nixon not practicing, apparently due to a hamstring issue. So Brandon Cisse getting some time with the ones. So, but we'll go through through what happened at practice, any updates, anything else to kind of hit up. So, but that's coming up here. It is Thursday, which means we're going to do a little 3 up and 3 down. 3 up and 3 down. So you could play along. I want you to play along. What are some things that it's like stock reports? 3 things that would be up, and 3 things that you would say is trending down. So we'll do a little 3 up and 3 down. We'll talk with Jake Boakes coming up at 8:30. So if you have any hunting, fishing, outdoor related questions, please text those on over right now to that Shoe Doctors bullpen line at 715-830-1912, or you can also hit us up on the section 105 chat on the video stream if you have any questions for Mr. Jake Boakes, DNR warden for the state of Wisconsin. So that's kind of your game plan for us this morning, and whatever else that maybe the conversation takes us. So you got any questions, any topic ideas? Send them on over, peeps. All right, I want to hear from you. This is your program. Also, hey, should note the Express picked up another win last night, too. They'll be back at it tonight at Carson Park, taking on Rochester for another Tailgate Thursday game. So we'll see if the Brewer or the Express can continue their winning ways, as they are on track to get that second half championship and clinch a playoff spot. So, all right, let's patter. Let's get at her. Let's take our first break, and then we got the leadoff. Lots to digest with the Brewers in the last, 24 hours, a little less than 24 hours. Clobbered yesterday. They lost, but, man, rumors are starting to heat up a little bit here for the Crew. Are you ready to be maybe a little bit heartbroken, or are you starting to buy into this thing? What say you? All right, what would the price tag be? What's too rich for you when it comes to Scooble? What would be too rich for you? Is Luis Pena too rich? Is Luis Pena and Andrew Fisher and Brandon Sproat too rich? What you got? All right, I want your analysis. Hit me up. We'll take a quick break. Plenty of Brewers chat coming up after these quick words. The countdown to fall sports is on. From Friday night football to volleyball, soccer, cross country, athletes across the Chippewa Valley are getting ready to compete. But when injuries happen, getting the right care matters. Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine specializes in helping athletes getting back into the game with expert orthopedic care, sports medicine, and treatment that you can trust. Whether you are a weekend warrior or a high school athlete chasing your goals, their team is here to help keep you moving. Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, your partner in staying active, healthy, and ready for the season ahead. We got the lead off. Let's break it down. Let's get things going here this morning. Brewers game. This is going to be one of those games yesterday that, I know it's a kind of a football term, but throw the tape out. Throw this one out. Not a whole lot to digest here with this 16-3 loss. Brewers falling into a 3-0 hole. They did climb back into it, make it 3-2, but that sixth inning, the kind of fell off the rails a little bit. I do want to talk a little Aaron Ashby here. He came in for Chad Patrick, but and he was put in a tough spot. But Aaron Ashby, the way he's been pitching here as of late, are you concerned? Are you a little worried? I've been seeing some people kind of talking about this. You look at his numbers from June. The month of June, he pitched in 13 games, 14 innings, 2-1, but he had a 6.43 ERA. Now, if you kind of look at it a little bit further, he had one game, June 8th against the Athletics, 3 earned runs. In Atlanta, he had 2 earned runs. After that, it's a bunch of singles and zeros. July, 1-1 in 12 games, 6.75 ERA, 3 earned runs against Pittsburgh, 4 earned runs against the Giants. Is it a whole lot of maybe kind of over-exaggeration? Is there legit concern? Before yesterday, he hadn't given up an earned run since that July 11th game against Pittsburgh. It was back on the 22nd against the Mets. He went 2 innings, didn't give up a single earned run or a hit, 1 walk, but 4 Ks. So where are you at on the whole Aaron Ashby kind of debate that seems to be out there amongst fans? Do you think it's more of a recency thing from fans that they're just over-exaggerating from one game or a couple games? What do you think? So let's kind of talk about some of these trade rumors, though, shall we? Let's do this. Let's got a couple clips here. So they're heating up with the trade deadline coming up on Monday. We got some rumors that are heating up. Let's start off with Jim Bowden. All right, Jim Bowden. He is an MLB analyst, insider, former Major League Baseball general manager. And he had this to say in Foul Territory yesterday. Foul Territory, the program, about the Brewers and Tarek Skubal, what he's hearing. Brewers fans, if you want Tarek Skubal, you might want to listen to this. Audio courtesy from Foul Territory.
So I'm being told that they are in on Skubal for sure. And I will say this, if he's traded, which I don't know, Scott Harris doesn't know. I don't know if he's going to be traded, but if he is, I will tell you this right now. I think the Brewers are the most likely landing spot. I'll rank them 1, Dodgers 2, Braves 3, Tampa 4 in that order. The Brewers farm system is as good as any team out there that's trying to get him. They also have so much depth. When you talk about the best prospect in baseball, Tezu Made, he's not going anywhere. But they got Luis Pena too, who's 19 years old, has got a chance to be a superstar, and he'd be the number 1 prospect in most organizations. You can afford to deal him if you want to because you have Made, you have Cooper, you have enough. You can give them a starter to go back and Brandon Sproat, who you picked up for Peralta, who was a rental. So no problem putting him back in. And then you can sweeten the pot with maybe Tyson Harden, the pitcher, maybe Andrew Fisher, the third baseman. You have enough there. And remember this, Mark Antanasio, the owner in 2008, made the deal for CC Sabathia, gave them a shot to win a World Series. They didn't do it, but gave him a shot. Mark Antanasio has told Matt Arnold, green light, go do it. I'm ready. Here we go. So I think they're going to make a run at it. If he is traded, I give them as good a shot as the Dodgers and anybody else in getting him. And by the way, if I'm the Union, I want that to happen, right? I don't want Skubal going to the Dodgers if I'm the Union and have the Dodgers win again. If he goes to Milwaukee and wins and you have a Milwaukee-Tampa Bay World Series, good luck arguing for a hard cap. If Skubal goes to the Dodgers and they win the World Series, okay, no baseball in 27, and then I don't get to come on this show every week.
So that's that last part's kind of an interesting one too, because I would agree with Jim Bowden that the players union probably doesn't want Skubal to go to the Dodgers and help the Dodgers win another World Series because it's going to hurt their argument. So did think of it that way. Not that the players union has much say in this, but all right. The other note there too, that has Mark Attanasio given the green light to Matt Arnold to be aggressive to make these moves. Kind of sounds like it. Now, Andrew Fisher, to me, again, I don't want to put Andrew Fisher as part of a deal. Given what we saw in the World Baseball Classic, made a name for himself, and he has done nothing to diminish that. In fact, he has probably improved his stock for how well he has played this year from the plate. We're talking 33 home runs already this season between the Timber Rattlers and now Double A and Biloxi. This guy is super talented, playing third base. We know the Brewers need power at third base. So I don't want to put him in there in any deals. I don't want to put Madej in any deals. Those two would Luis Pena, though? Yeah, he's the number two, and he's got an immense amount of talent. But, okay, if Madej's untouchable, you got Cooper Pratt, and then potentially Fisher, your infield's kind of set at that point. So could they trade Luis Pena for Skubal? Or is that too rich? Now, on the flip side, Jeff Passan from ESPN, he's singing a little bit of a different tune when it comes to Skubal and the Brewers. Audio courtesy from ESPN.
While everybody is thinking that the Brewers are going to be in it, that the Rays are going to be in it, that the Atlanta Braves are going to be in it, they're all almost resigned to the idea that the Los Angeles Dodgers are going to get Tarik Skubal. And if you're the Dodgers, why wouldn't you? You have questions over Shohei Ohtani's ability to pitch for the rest of the season, frankly, at this point. You still don't have Blake Snell off the injured list. You still have Tyler Glass now on there as well. As good as Yoshinobu Yamamoto is, as great as Justin Wroblewski's been this year, as much depth as the Dodgers have, they have even more Shea in their farm system, so they can afford to give up the types of prospects that Detroit's going to want. To me, it's just a race against the Dodgers at this point, and are any of those other teams willing to go out and beat what they put on the table?
All right, so again, that's Jeff Passan from ESPN singing a little bit of a different tune that he believes it's the Dodgers. Everybody's chasing the Dodgers in trying to get Tarik Skubal. Might be it's setting up for a big-time race to the finish, doesn't it? And now Jeff Passan also said that he believes a trade will happen for Skubal here rather soon. Yesterday or last night said like a day or two. So maybe we'll find out today. Maybe we'll find out tomorrow or this weekend. Definitely going to be finding out by Monday. But again, what's too rich for you when it comes to Skubal? Madej's off the table. I wouldn't put Andrew Fisher in there either. I just no. I don't want Andrew Fisher as a part of any trade. Just I think his ceiling, his star is really high. I don't want to see it. Now, another pitcher that has been mentioned for the Brewers has been Freddie Peralta. We have an update on that, but let's take a quick break here, and we'll get you updated on what's the latest in terms of maybe a reunion with Freddie Peralta in the Milwaukee Brewers. We'll keep you posted on that. Coming up after this quick break. When you're looking for your next vehicle, choose a dealership that knows and cares about the community it serves. Toyson Ford in Chippewa Falls is proud to be locally owned and operated, providing hometown service and a better buying experience for drivers throughout the Chippewa Valley. Whether you're looking for a new Ford, a quality pre-owned vehicle, or trusted service for the vehicle that you already own, the team at Toyson Ford is here to help. Experience the difference of shopping local. Toyson Ford in Chippewa Falls, your hometown Ford dealer. So obviously Skubal is maybe the prize of this trade deadline, him, Mason Miller, if they're available. But another pitcher that has potentially been attached to the Milwaukee Brewers is a reunion with one Freddie Peralta. But John Heyman, insider, saying that yesterday, not much traction so far in the Peralta back to the Brewers talks. Fluid situation, but multiple other teams are more involved now. Some teams believe Peralta's off year is partly the fault of the Mets and the Mets defense, which actually may help the Mets. How does this help the Mets? Well, if that's what teams believe, if teams believe that Peralta's numbers and his play is because of the fault of the Mets, then teams still view Freddie Peralta in maybe a little bit of a higher regard. And that fits the latest piece from Will Salmon from The Athletic. Now, Will Salmon's in an interesting spot because he used to cover the Brewers for The Athletic. We've had him on our program many times. Now he covers the Mets for The Athletic. And he has a piece out there that says executives still see Freddie Peralta's upside. And he said one evaluator called Freddie Peralta one of the top 3 or 4 starters available. And one of the evaluators said for a bunch of teams, he would start a playoff game. And a different one added, regardless of the results so far, he's still going to be one of the top 3 or 4 starters available. So the interesting thing about Freddie Peralta is what's the price? How do you value Freddie Peralta? I'm sure, like, do you put stock in what we saw last year with him from the Brewers? Do you factor in this year? Do you put more of the blame on him or the Mets in itself? It's tough. It's a tough call. And maybe the Skubal trade has to happen first. It's kind of like free agency a little bit, where the big domino falls and then the rest kind of follow in place. Is that the case here for one Peralta? Or do some teams, maybe who have inquired about Skubal, say, nope, that's a little too rich, and then they move on to a guy like Peralta? It's different because we have a deadline here, which is coming up on Monday. So I really don't know what it would cost to bring in a Peralta. What if, okay, I'll throw this one out there. What if it just cost Luis Pena? I shouldn't say just cost, because Luis Pena would be the top prospect for a lot of other franchises. But what if it just cost Luis Pena? Would you do that move? Luis Pena, Freddie Peralta, straight up. You got depth in the infield. You got Fisher, you got Mata, you got Jet Williams still. Or do you send back Jet Williams for Freddie Peralta? I don't know. It's tough. I don't like the one that Jim Bowden threw out there for Skubal again. I don't like Brandon Sproat, Andrew Fisher, and then Luis Pena. Brandon Sproat, Luis Pena, and somebody else? Okay. Depends on who that somebody else is, but I'd put Andrew Fisher in that untouchable category. If the way he's playing, no thank you. No thank you. We'll ask Hunter about this coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. Hunter, Brewers reporter for Fox Sports 920 Wisconsin. So we'll get his take on everything. But I want your take. What do you think? C-Bomb says, if we can get Freddie cheap, he provides depth, and coming back to the pitching machine, can get back on track. Hook will get his hooks into him. Plain T says, forget Scooble, get more bullpen help. Bo on the video stream says, definitely keep Fisher if he's as good as you say. We need a power bat. Yelich is not the power bat we thought. We know C-Bomb wants all in on Scooble, but okay, let me throw this to you, C-Bomb. You've been hammering the table for Scooble, okay? Sproat, Pena, Fisher, you doing that one, or is that too rich for you? You willing to make that move if that's what it costs? And I don't fault the Tigers or any of these teams asking for the moon. I mean, it's the playoff teams. It's these teams that are competing for a World Series title. They're the desperate ones. They're desperate to try to add as much talent as possible. And maybe when it comes to National League teams, you throw in a team like the Dodgers and you're trying to beat them to the punch. You're trying to beat them from making that move. And right now, I mean, the other part in this too, Dodgers have a really good farm system, which is just more infuriating with this whole thing. They've got a lot of chips and options that they could trade from. And they have a need at starting pitcher, especially with the injuries to the likes of Ohtani. Would it surprise anybody if we find out in the next 24, 48, 72 hours that Scooble is a part of the Dodgers? No. It shouldn't surprise anybody. And that's the frustrating part, unless you're a fan of the Dodgers, but that's like one of the biggest frustrating things about the Dodgers is outside of deep pockets, man, they scout well and they know how to build up a farm system. That's not supposed to happen. You're supposed to be one or the other. Right? You're supposed to have a bad farm system if you have a really good, expensive roster. But they get it done on both sides. All right. What are your thoughts? Continue to send them on over. Hit me up, 715-830-1912. It looks like the wide majority don't want Andrew Fisher a part of any deal. And I don't blame you. Right now, I think that guy's star is up. And we don't know if he's going to pan out, right? I mean, Lewis Brinson, we said a lot of the same things. Don't trade Lewis Brinson. Then Lewis Brinson never really panned out. We don't know how these prospects are going to play out. That's why they're called prospects. So it's a risk. No question about it. It's a risk. But is it a risk worth taking? I think this is going to be a fascinating next couple of days here. Things are going to really heat up, and the closer we get to Monday, maybe more desperate these playoff teams become to boost up some of their trade packages, to boost up some of their offers, to get these guys. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll start to wrap up the first hour. Coming up after these few words. Nobody plans for an accident, but when the unexpected happens, you want a team that you can trust. And at Superior Auto Body in Eau Claire, they're proud to be locally owned and operated, providing quality collision repair and hometown service to drivers throughout the Chippewa Valley. Their experienced team takes pride in every repair, treating your vehicle with the same care and attention that they would give their own. When you need collision repair that you can count on, choose the people who live and work right here in your community. Superior Auto Body in Eau Claire, locally owned, locally trusted, and here to get you back on the road. We got about 14 minutes left to the top of the hour. Coming up next hour, we'll talk a little Packers training camp after day one in the books. We'll go through some of the comments from Goody and Matt LaFleur yesterday before practice, and keep you posted or keep you updated on what happened at practice. If you want to do a little fun overreaction Thursday after the first practice, have some fun with it and send it on over. Okay? So, we got text that says, Brewers fans think all their prospects are future Hall of Famers. Just do something for once in your lives and make a move. We've got, don't know who that is. So we've got C-Bomb says, you just mentioned next point I was going to send. Not only does it help the Brewers for a World Series this year, it stops teams like the Dodgers from getting him to use against us. I was reading a little bit more from USA Today, and apparently, according to Bob Nightingale, the preference for Skubal is the Dodgers, but honestly, let's be real. How many players, if they could pick their team to go to, their preference, Dodgers would probably be at the top of the list for a lot of people. Let's be real about this thing. That's probably the preference for a ton of people. Yeah, it says here the Dodgers could grab Skubal knowing that they are considered his first preference anyways when he becomes a free agent. That would not only give them a lethal October rotation, but keep him away from the competition. The Dodgers have nightmares envisioning Skubal paired with strikeout sensation Jacob Misiorowski in Milwaukee, and they know Skubal could be the missing piece for the Cubs, and the Tampa Bay Rays would be awfully dangerous with Skubal leading their rotation. I think it's going to be an awesome race to the finish line here. I can't wait for this to happen. If it goes to the Dodgers, I get it. We're all about Brewers fans are all going to be upset and annoyed and irritated and down in the dumps. It's going to happen for a lot, unless maybe we see what that. The thing is like the Dodgers are a little bit different in the fact that they could probably afford to overpay. Again, they have an incredibly deep farm system. I think they got 9 top 100 prospects. They can deal from that. They have open pockets. Free agency doesn't scare them. They're not worried about that. They're not worried about a stoppage in play in 2027. So honestly, compared to the Brewers to the Dodgers can overpay, and they're not going to worry about it. Brewers, they are going to worry about overpaying for somebody. That's a huge difference between the two ball clubs. I don't know what type of package the Rays could offer or the Cubs. We know the Cubs have a need at that. The Cubs, if the Cubs able to pull off Skubal as a Brewers fan, yeah, I'd be a little nervous and concerned. I mean, the Cubs offense is playing incredibly well as of late, and then you add in a frontline starter like Skubal, that makes it a dangerous team. They're already a dangerous team. But just envision it a little bit, Brewers fans. Just envision. Let's not worry about what it would cost. Let's kind of close your eyes and envision Skubal suited up in a Brewers uniform on the mound at American Family Field. You got a little smile on your face, right? You're like, oh yeah. Just envision it. Envision that into a postseason start. Envision seeing the postseason. Game 1 or 2 is Misiorowski and Skubal. Whatever order it may land into. Just envision that. The expectation should be Okay, those are 2 wins. Can you find 2 more in a 7-game series? It's hard not to be excited to envision. If we take away the cost, if we take away what the Brewers would have to give up for a guy like Skubal, we take all that away. Don't worry about that for just a minute here, and you just envision that. How do you not get excited? I don't know of a Brewers fan, and I hope that there wouldn't be many, but I don't know of a Brewers fan that wouldn't at least be excited about the addition of Skubal. Yeah, if it's expensive, you're going to worry about that. But I would just say this to Brewers fans. If it were to happen, if the Brewers give up a lot, but they do acquire Skubal, let's worry about the future later on. That's the outlook that's the approach I'm gonna have with it. You can worry about the future when we get to the future. Let's worry about the now. And I'm gonna be pumped. I'm gonna be excited. I'm a fan of the franchise, but I'm a fan of the 2026 Brewers. I'll be a fan of the 2027 Brewers. You know what I mean? I'm worried about the now. And I get it. Matt Arnold, Brewers front office, they always have to plan for the future. They always have an eye towards the future. That's their jobs. That's every general manager's job. They have to do that. But from a fan perspective, I hope that a lot of fans, not all of them, but I hope that a lot of fans are going to, if it does happen, if this does happen and the Brewers do give up a lot of prospects for this, I hope they can be like, okay, let's go win this darn thing this year. And maybe be a little bit more invested, maybe be all in themselves, and let's get pumped if this thing were to happen. Let's get excited. I know that's how I'm going to approach it, and then we can worry about the future later. There's no question. I don't think there's any argument that if Skubal is on the Brewers, it immensely improves them. Big time. Huge. Right? I mean, it boosts their chances of advancing to the World Series. I can't wait to see how this all pans out. So I know I'd said earlier in the week that I didn't know if Skubal was going to get traded. I think after how that game finished yesterday for the Tigers, I switched my opinion. I think Skubal's gone now. I think he's out. I at this point, if you're the Tigers, you might as well try to get something in return for him. We've got so Jeff Passan again from ESPN just a few minutes ago. 2026 MLB trade deadline preview. Passan's intel on every team. The Brewers. Biggest question, will they pull a 2008? Biggest need, high-end starting pitching, home run power. Best fit, Skubal. On July 7th, 2008, the Brewers traded 3 prospects and a player to be named later for 3 months of CC Sabathia's services. Sabathia was so dominant, he actually finished 5th in the National League Cy Young race in only 17 starts. Though the Brewers faltered in the division series nearly 20 years later, that deal still serves as an example of deadline success. Even if the player to be named later was Michael Brantley. Milwaukee finds itself in a similar position today. Really, really good, and with one of the best pitchers in the world there for the taking. Particularly so considering Milwaukee boasts the game's best farm system and has endless deal iterations that could tempt Detroit the most. As alluring as a rotation with Skubal and Chris Sale sounds, Milwaukee could one-up it. Here is Tarek Skubal and Jacob Mizorowski. Beat that. The Brewers aren't exclusively focused on Skubal. They love the idea of Mason Miller joining what's already a super pen. They are always in search for some slug with a major league low 98 homers. The Brewers also know that in spite of the dearth of homers, they're fifth in in the major leagues in runs scored. So offense isn't an issue now. In the postseason, when home runs account for even higher percentage of runs than the regular season, it could be an issue, which is why, absent a Skubal deal, Milwaukee will find another starter and guide its resources towards more incremental improvements. And, of course, Dodgers also, he lists best fit as Skubal, too. So, could they pull off, okay, say they get Skubal. Do they have enough to maybe go out there and get another bat? Like, who would that bat and what position would it come from? Something else to also ponder. Because, I don't know what you do. Probably still third, but Or do you look at outfield, right field maybe, and try to find a power bat from that spot? That's a tricky one, too. All right. What's too rich? Is there a thing, or maybe you're like, nothing is too rich to go get Skubal. On this July 30th, as we inch closer and closer and the rumors start to heat up for the Brewers, are you ready to have your heart broken? Are you ready? Are you all in on Skubal and being uber aggressive? I mean, I think, gosh darn it, if somehow it ain't happening, but could you imagine for just one hot second, somehow, some way, the Brewers got both Mason Miller and Skubal? That ain't happening. It ain't Madden. It ain't a video game. But could you just imagine for a second if that were to happen? Holy cow. Dang. So. All right. We'll talk some more baseball, some more Brewers coming up a little bit later on here. I want to kick off the second hour talking some training camp. Day one in the books for the Packers. What stood out? What were some of the comments from Matt LaFleur yesterday? A certain comment from Brian Gutekunst yesterday kind of raised my eyebrows, maybe piqued my thoughts just a little bit. So we'll hit that up. And then Keyshawn Nixon did not practice due to a hamstring injury. I don't know. I don't think necessarily that's the worst thing at this point in time. If you can get more reps for the rookie Brandon Cisse with the ones, I'm okay with that. Because I feel the quicker we can get him some more reps and get him in the fold, the quicker he's going to get maybe some starting reps for the team as we open up the regular season too. So we'll go through some of the comments from both Goody and LaFleur yesterday and maybe have a little fun overreaction from one practice, the first practice of the season. So that's coming up in the next hour too. So don't forget, you can send me your 3 up and 3 downs. It's like stock reports. What are 3 things that are up and 3 things that are down? All right, we got some news updates, but we'll be back in just a couple minutes. Kicking off the second hour on this Thursday morning. Thanks for hanging out with us and, making us a part of your start on this July 30th. Coming up in 2 hours from now, we'll talk. Well, we're still going to talk more Brewers leading up to it, but Hunter Baumgardt, Brewers reporter, Fox Sports 920 Wisconsin, is going to be joining us. We'll get his take on the latest trade rumors, rumblings, reports, whatever the heck you want to call them. We'll get his takes on it all coming up at about 9:05 this morning. Before that, 8:30, we'll catch up with Jake Boakes, conservation warden for the state of Wisconsin. So if you have any outdoor-related questions, hunting, fishing, et cetera, text those on over to us now so we can get those to Jake. All right, text them on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. So we'll get to Jake coming up at 8:30. It is a 3 up and 3 down Thursday. 3 items that are up, 3 items that are down. You want to play along? You can send us yours as well. Got the Section 105 chat rolling. You can join the other listeners over there and have a little powwow, have a little chit-chat back and forth there too. So you can check that out on YouTube. Let's begin this hour, though, catching up on training camp. Day 1 is in the books. If you want to have a little fun overreaction to one practice to day 1 of Packers training camp, you can do so. Hopefully you're not too serious about it, but you can do that. Packers getting things started yesterday. And it started off, and I know towards the end of the program we kind of went through some of the comments because it was happening live as we were on the program. But Goody had a quick powwow presser with the media, and so did Matt LaFleur. I want to go back to one of the comments that Brian Gutekunst said yesterday in his presser. And a lot of times, call a spade. We don't learn a whole lot from these pressers. But there was a couple things, I think, from Goody yesterday. One, he did admit that they would like, and that's the hope, and that's maybe kind of the expectation, that Tucker Kraft will have a new deal before the season begins. So that's coming up here. But the other thing, he talked about the offensive line. And the quote that he said was, I think we've got some guys in places this year that make a little more sense. And that one, I was like, okay, because last year, remember, this was a topic of conversation last year. Do the Packers sometimes, back it up here for a second, we know the Packers like versatile offensive linemen. And Goody was asked about that. I think it was at the Combine or it was after the season. Do they need to maybe focus on offensive linemen that are just, position specific, essentially? And he said, kind of shot that down, said they still like versatility. That's something that they look for in the offensive linemen. And I know Matt LaFleur always has the quote, the 5 best will play. But I would like to see it, the 5 best will play at their right positions. Don't try to fit a square peg into a round hole. And you kind of wonder, did they get a little too cute last year? Did they try, did they do a little too much of those square pegs into round holes? Elton Jenkins, center, moving him away from a guard spot where he was an all-pro. And that's something to, Jordan Morgan was a first-round pick, and they had him at guard. They were flipping him around. Were they asking too much of Jordan Morgan in the first 2 years of his career? So this is going to be, I think, something to watch now going forward. Yesterday, though, we didn't have 2 starters. Aaron Banks, who was taken off the PUP list, so would imagine he's getting close. Zach Tom, who's recovering from knee injury, he is not on the PUP list, but did not practice yesterday. So it was Morgan, it was Jacob Monk, it was Sean Ryan, it was Anthony Belton, and Darian Kennard with the number 1 group. Jagger Burton apparently got a little bit dinged up at practice yesterday and was taken into the Don Hudson Center afterwards. But that one, I kind of wonder, was that sort of an admission that Yeah, last year offensive line, our ideas, our plan, it didn't work. So that was something that kind of stood out to me a little bit from Goody's presser yesterday. Matt LaFleur, he kind of went a little bit more into the Luke Musgrave neck injury. Says it went back to mandatory minicamp when he dropped out of practice. And I know Goody talked a little bit about it here. If I'm Green Bay, if I'm Goody, I'm looking at who's available for tight end, because neck injuries, it lowers my expectation on what we're going to get from Luke Musgrave this year. It kind of lowers that. The depth now is a major question for me when it comes to the tight end position. So if I'm Goody, I'm looking, is there anybody available out there? Is there anybody that can help us right now? Because you're going to need some upgrades. No offense to the other guys on the roster outside of Tucker Kraft, but we need a little bit better depth now at that tight end, because I ain't putting in a whole lot of stock that Luke Musgrave is going to be able to suit up or play at a high level this year. The other thing, Keyshawn Nixon not practicing due to apparently a hamstring injury, which I know to a lot of Packers fans is just kind of maybe rolling their eyes when they saw that yesterday, saying, of course. But if there's one positive to maybe kind of take a look at this is, okay, Brandon Cisse got some reps with the ones. More reps for him, the better. Because I want Brandon Cisse, if he legitimately is a top 2 corner on this team, he better be out there early on in the season. He better be an upgrade from either Nixon or Carrington Valentine. Has to be. So get him more reps. Continue to get him more reps, please, with the ones. The sooner that happens, the sooner that he's going to be able to get in there in the regular season. A lot of I'm going to call these overreactions too, because we have to remember Matt LaFleur yesterday also said, the first few practices we're already coming in a little bit banged up. Might be a little bit more easy going, but a lot of the overreactions is Lucas Van Ness looked really good. I hope he looked really good. But I'm not going to say, all right, this is his year. It's day 1 of training camp, practice number 1. Let's wait and see until we get the pads on. He better look really good. That's my expectation. He better look really good at this point. Some comments from players after practice yesterday. Devontae Wyatt talked to the team afterwards. Said this is where he wanted to be. Obviously, very excited about with the contract extension. Tucker Kraft said that the Packers have made it clear to him that they want him long term, and he wants the contract extension to be done as soon as possible. Zach Tom said that he is playing week 1. It's not an option. I am playing week 1. Zaire Franklin saying the team has grown. They're not the young team that they were 2 years ago, and the Green Bay Packers is ready to take that next step. We're ready to be that dominant team to take over the league. A lot of good talk, but I think a lot of people just want to see it on the field too. So, Josh Jacobs did not talk. If anybody was wondering, he did not talk to media. Matt Schneidman say, my understanding is Jacobs won't be available until the legal situation is resolved. He hasn't talked since it happened in late May. If it's still not resolved by the time the season rolls, maybe they don't talk. Maybe they let him talk before or after games, but have him decline comment on his case. All right. That's just a little bit of a day one from training camp yesterday. Again, it's day one. But if you want to have some fun overreactions with it, go for it. Go for it. All right, we'll take a quick break. And we'll get back to some more baseball talk coming up here. A lot of rumors out there when it comes to the Milwaukee Brewers. A lot of rumors. Are you starting to get into it? Are you starting to like, oh yeah, I'm ready. Maybe I'm ready to be heartbroken. Maybe I'm ready. I'm all in now. Because I got to admit, I'm getting there too. I'm starting to get into the whole, okay, I'm buying into the Scooble thing. I kind of want it to happen now. I'm getting there. Oh, I'm getting there. All right, we'll take a quick break. Back with a whole lot more coming up after these quick words. Next Friday be the 6th annual Kasper Classic. Big thanks to all of you who have signed up your teams. We are sold out at the 10 a.m. and the 1 p.m. Record number of teams this year when you add in the 7:30 flight too, so we got a few more in there. We're going to leave that 7:30 sign up for maybe just another day or so. So if you want to get a two-person team in the early hours of 7:30, maybe get a quick 9 in before you have to head to work or that, you can go to sportstalk1051.com and get that team in. I want to give a shout-out because I've been asking for some raffle prizes, and because 100% of the proceeds from those raffles go to help fund Backyard Dreams. But and we got a good list so far. We'll take, hey, if you still want to donate a prize, please reach out. Please reach out. But I want to give you an idea of some of the things that we're going to have available. We've got some Brewers tickets, all right? Hey, maybe you'll see Scooble in one of those games. So we got Brewers tickets to a couple of upcoming games. We got a Micah Parsons jersey. We've got Packers football donated by the Packers. We got this sweet. So if you got maybe a high schooler or a kiddo who's really into baseball, a Wilson A2K glove donated by a Greg Fisher. But we're talking about this glove's worth about a few $100. Okay, it's a sweet looking glove too. You can look at it on my Facebook page. I posted a picture of it a couple weeks ago. We got an Eau Claire Express prize pack. We've got some Country Jam tickets for 2. We've got movie and snack prize pack, couple golf and snack prize packs, a decanter and cooler prize pack donated by our friends from Myron Construction. Service Master Chippewa Valley Clay with a sweet prize at St. Croix Fishing Combo, rod and reel, plus this cooler filled with some water guns and snacks and candy. It's an awesome prize there. Gaming chair from Spectrum Industries, a Tanglewood Greens prize pack, Bloody Mary basket donated by Mr. Brandon Berg. So a couple night stay at Turner's Retreat over in Gilman too. So got some great stuff. Just wanted to thank everybody for donating some of those raffle prizes. So looking forward to next Friday for the Kasper Classic at Lake Hallie Golf Course. Just a little bit of a note too, next Friday we won't have a show. Usually we do the show from the golf course, but this will be the year. Well, this will be the first year that we've had the program till 10 a.m. So since we have a 10 a.m. tee-off group, that's the time I'm going to be teeing off. We're not going to do a program. I'm actually going to help my volunteers set everything up because they've done so much stuff over the last couple of years, so I'm going to help them out this year. So just a little bit of a program note. Next Friday, we won't have a show, but we'll be over there at Lake Hallie Golf Course for the 6th annual Kasper Classic. C-Bomb throwing out an interesting question. In NFL terms, at the trade deadline, if the missing piece were a corner, would you be upset if Green Bay gave up a first-round pick and a rookie for Patrick Surtain? Scooble is that for the Brewers, in my opinion. What would your NFL comparison be for him? Well, let me kind of spin this a little bit. Could we use the Micah Parsons example from last year? Can we use that? I mean, Green Bay did give up 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark for Micah Parsons. Gave him a big deal. Were we mad about that? Were we upset about that? Can we compare the two? You know, I know some are going to say you can't because Scooble is just going to be a rental. You're not going to keep Scooble long-term like Green Bay did with Micah Parsons. That's fair. I think that is fair to acknowledge it. It is also a little bit different because, I mean, baseball, you have all the farm system, right? You got your minor leagues, your AAA, your AA, your single A, your high A, so you got depth. So it's a little bit different in that aspect, but just take it from a fan perspective here for a second, okay? Just straight up fan. Pretend you're not running the team. Were you upset when Green Bay traded? Were you upset when Green Bay traded for Micah Parsons last year, gave up those 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark? Is that kind of a comparison here? What up, C-Bomb? How you doing, man?
Good morning, El Capitano. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. What say you? I just brought up your text. I threw out, you mentioned Patrick Surtain, but could we use maybe the Micah Parsons comparison from last year? I mean, I don't know too many Packers fans who were probably upset that Green Bay gave up all that for Micah Parsons.
Yeah, no, that was exactly, I was thinking about the Parsons trade, and then I'd hear people say, well, that didn't work out. And you know what? It didn't work out because he got injured, but you know what? At least the Packers went all in for him, and it showed that they're going for it, right? And I don't think, still, even though he got hurt, I don't think anybody was upset with that move. And you talked about the CC Sabathia move, right? That made the Brewers, that gave them that push to get them in the playoffs and actually kind of make a run. So, and remember, in 2008, we were dreaming of just being a playoff team, and that trade did that for us. And I think this team is to the point where last year they were the best record in baseball. We didn't have those expectations, and we thought we had a shot. Here we are, one of the top records in baseball again, and we have that shot. Let's go get it. And I don't care, prospects. They're prospects. How many guys are big bomb hitters in the minors and fizzle out in the major leagues? Go get Scooble and let's make a run at this thing.
So the one thing I want to bring up too, you mentioned 08. Here, so let's say the Brewers do this. The one thing I don't, and we kind of saw it a little bit last year, the mindset. I don't want to be just happy making the postseason like 08 with CC. I don't want to be just happy last year of beating the Cubs. The mindset has to be from this team, all right, now it's World Series. You know what I mean? Like, because it felt like 08's, we were just happy to finally get over that hurdle and get into the postseason. It was the first time I ever experienced the postseason for the Brewers. Last year, it kind of felt like, okay, we got through the Cubs, and then got swept by the Dodgers. There's got to be this different mindset, right? That, okay, we're not just going to be happy to make the postseason. We're not just going to be happy to potentially beat the Dodgers, if that's the point. It's got to be the World Series.
It's got to be. I mean, the Brewers belong. It's taken a long time to really start to believe that, and I think the Brewers belong there. And this Scooble move, here's what I don't want to have happen. We get to the NLCS, losing Game 6, and be going, damn it, if we had Scooble, we would have had a shot. If we lose with Scooble, okay, at least we put all our chips on the table and we made a run for it. I don't want to be saying what if, because let's be honest, I don't know how, and especially with the CBA coming up and things that are going to happen, how long is the window going to be open for this squad? So go get it. As a Brewers fan, I think everybody would be ecstatic if they made a move for Scooble.
So, I mean, because everybody, I think a lot of people, I should say everybody, but a lot of people are saying if this is the move that gets you to the World Series, then do it. We don't know that, right, C-Bomb? I mean, we can't sit here and say, well, this is going to put them over the top. But I think it would improve their chances, right? I mean, that's kind of where, like, you are coming from and maybe some others are coming from.
Without question. I mean, how often do you get a chance to get a two-time Cy Young Award winner and a proven ace and a real, he's going to improve the pitching staff. And what do you need when the playoffs come around when you're facing the lineup that the Dodgers have? You need to be able to go in there and win 4 games. So Mizorowski might get you 2 of them, but you need someone for the other 2, right? And and who would be better? I mean, do we have a shot with the staff we have now? I think we do, but I think it improves our chances quite a bit if we could add them.
So, last question for you before I let you go. If it's which one would you feel more confident in terms of a pitching staff? Scooble, Mizorowski, Harrison, and then let's say it's a combo between Shane Drone and Brandon Sproat, assuming they would have to throw in Logan Henderson for part of this deal. Or Mizorowski, Harrison, Logan Henderson, and Freddie Peralta.
It would be nice to have Peralta. I think Peralta. I think bringing him back, boy, I think it would give him a shot in the arm. I think that would be kind of cool. And wouldn't it be something else? I don't have the computer in front of me, so I can't do it. But really, if Peralta came back, what did the Mets just give us then? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was Jet Williams and Brandon Sproat.
Yeah, there you go. So, it's a horse apiece, I think, but I think it'd be really a cool story if Peralta could come back and help us get it done.
And I think obviously it would be cheaper than what the Brewers gave up for Peralta for those two. But, yeah, it's as a back-end starter, and honestly, to me, that's where I look at this thing, too, with a starter pitcher. I kind of want a veteran with this rotation, when it gets to the playoffs. Or am I overlooking that? Or overreacting to that?
No, I think that's a real thing. I mean, you want somebody who's been there, and the spotlight's not going to be too big for them. You got to remember, these guys aren't human. The nerves are a real thing, and you get on that platform, and you're facing Ohtani and Freeman and the gauntlet of the Brewers lineup or the Dodgers lineup. You want somebody who's not afraid of that, or not going. And I think Freddie would go after it.
Yeah, I agree. All right, hey, good to hear your voice there, C-Bomb. Even Surveyor Sam texted in that you're alive. So good to hear from you, sir.
I'm alive. Can't wait to see you next Friday. It's going to be a great time, and the Lux and Luminary will have a basket for you. So we will see you there next weekend, next Friday. Can't wait to be there.
Awesome. Thank you, C-Bomb. There you go, C-Bomb off the Shoe Doctors bullpen line here this morning. We've got John also with a text. My confidence on the Brewers landing Skubal went from 40-60 last week to 75-25 today. Wow, that's a big jump. If Matt Arnold wants to pull off a CC Sabathia-style blockbuster, the package is right there. Logan Henderson gives Detroit the immediate big league starting innings. Luis Pena brings elite upside up the middle, and throw in Brandon Sproat to sweeten the deal. The line in the sand, Andrew Fisher stays. Keep Fisher's 30-bomb bat in Milwaukee. Send Detroit the arm plus the elite prospect package and go win a World Series. What say you guys and gals? I got the more we talk about this, everybody, the more I'm getting into it, and the more I'm like, okay, let's do this thing. I'm getting there. I'm starting to get there. It's coming. And maybe I'm getting ready to be disappointed and sad. But, I'm just envisioning this. It's giving me kind of maybe some flashbacks to the offseason of 28 when the Brewers got Yelich and Lorenzo Cain. I still remember coming on the next morning and everybody talking World Series, pumped up, excited, and we were one game away from accomplishing that. God. I want that feeling again. I want, in my man cave here, really quick, because I got to take a break. But I'll just say this. In my man cave, so I've got a few Sports Illustrateds that are framed up. Okay? The 4 Super Bowls, Super Bowl 1, Super Bowl 2, Super Bowl 31, Super Bowl 45. Then I've got Tiger Woods' first appearance on SI, Tiger Woods' first Master. The Bucks and their NBA championship. I was, mostly I was like, you know what? I'm just going to frame up championships, except because the Tiger Woods one, the first appearance was actually kind of worrisome, I guess. But I'm like, you know what? I don't have any Badgers. I don't have any Brewers. So I put a Badger Final Four one on there from the 2015 season. And then I've got the 2011 Brewers on there. Nyjer Morgan, Prince Fielder, Ryan Braun. I loved that team. I want to replace that one with a World Series one, okay? I want to replace that one with a World Series championship. So I'm starting to get there. Like, oh, I want it so bad. I want it, man. Oh, I want it. Oh. All right, we got to take a quick break. I'm running behind. Continue to send me your thoughts, all right? We'll be right back after these few words. When your vehicle needs attention, make it easy on yourself. Trust the team at AJM Automotive in Eau Claire. With 2 convenient locations, AJM makes taking care of your car, truck, or SUV simple. Need service? Well, scheduling an appointment is quick and easy. Just visit ajmautomotiveservices.com and book online when it works for you. And if the unexpected happens and you're stuck on the side of the road, AJM's towing service is there to help get you and your vehicle where you need to go. From routine maintenance to unexpected repairs, AJM Automotive Services is your local partner for honest, dependable auto care. 2 Eau Claire locations, easy online scheduling. Trusted service when you need it the most. That's AJM Automotive Services, keeping you moving. Okay, so we've been talking a lot about Skubal going to the Brewers. Let me throw out a different scenario if this were to happen. If Skubal is in fact traded to the Dodgers. Okay, let's say Skubal is traded to the Dodgers in the next 24, 48 hours. How important is it then for the Brewers to be super aggressive in the final hours of the trade deadline? Like how important is it for the Brewers to be, okay, we got to counter that. We got to add a pitcher, maybe another bat, maybe another bullpen arm. That's the other part in this thing that maybe we're not talking a whole lot about. Let's say the Brewers do not win the Skubal sweepstakes. Just how important then is it that the Brewers quickly move on and maybe be aggressive and find some other help? Like, okay, we need a starting pitcher. We need another bat, wherever that's going to come from. We need another bullpen arm. Because if we're comparing this all to, Skubal's like, hey, we got to make sure he doesn't go to the Dodgers either. He's going to help us, but, then he doesn't go to the Dodgers. We keep focusing on the Dodgers, the Dodgers, the Dodgers, the Dodgers, the Dodgers. But if the Dodgers get Skubal, are we just going to are the Brewers just going to sit there and pout? Be like, oh, darn it. Or do they got to, okay, now we got to up the ante. We got to be a little bit more aggressive, and you might be a little bit more desperate. You might have to pay a little bit more for immediate help. I think that's the other side of the coin here. Is what's the fallback option? What's the backup option if it's not Skubal? Is it Peralta? Is it another starting pitcher? Is it a few other positions? What's that next option? I think that's something maybe we kind of also have to prepare. Or at least the Brewers have to prepare for. What's that backup plan? Because if you were all in and you're really, by all accounts, trying to trade for Tarik Skubal and it doesn't work out, you better have a backup plan that you can immediately execute. So who is that? It is a little bit reminiscent of 2018. Because if you remember in 2018, who was the name, maybe the big prize that year at the trade deadline? It was Manny Machado. And there were reports, rumors that the Brewers were in on trying to acquire Manny Machado. He ultimately went to the Dodgers. How close were the Brewers? How legit was that? I mean, that's kind of up in the air. But it was out there. And we talked about it. What was the backup plan? What were some of the other options that the Brewers did in that 2018 season once they did not get Manny Machado? Remember, that was they did a few different we're talking just straight up the deadline. Okay. Well, they got Moustakas. They traded for Jonathan Scope. That was a trade that didn't really work out. But they made other moves. So I'm just, is it simply as, okay, move on and try to get Freddie? Is it a different starting pitcher? Is it Mason Miller? There's a couple, I think that's the other thing that we kind of have to maybe focus on. Do you think, and I'll throw this out to the rest of you, do you think that the Brewers have to counter big time if the Dodgers do get Tarek Skubal? Let's take a quick break. We're running a little bit behind, but that's okay. Want to give you some time to send in your thoughts. Reminder, we're going to talk more Brewers with Hunter Baumgardt coming up at 9:05, Brewers Reporter. Before that, 8:30. If you have any hunting, fishing related questions, please send those on over to us so we can get those to Jake. All right, so we can get those to Jake, our Wisconsin Conservation Warden. Send them on over, 715-830-1912. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be back after these few words. When it comes to feeding your family, quality matters. And for great tasting meats, you don't have to look any further than Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire. From fresh cuts of beef and pork to delicious brats, steaks, and all your favorites for the grill, Mike's Star Market brings you the quality and service that you expect from a true local butcher shop. Whether you're firing up the grill, planning a family meal, or stocking up the freezer, stop by Mike's Star Market and experience the difference of shopping local. Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire. Quality meats, hometown service, and a tradition that you can taste. So I was looking at some potential bats. And okay, so when you look at this Brewers team, if you feel like they still need a bat, where's that going to come from? Like what position? And let's be realistic with this thing. They're not benching Christian Yelich. Christian Yelich is still going to be a part of this team. That's not going to happen. So is it right field? I mean, they've got if Sal Frelick comes back, whenever he comes back, you got him. You got Luis Lara. They've played Bowers out there. I mean, is it another outfielder? Is it still third base? Even though Joey Ortiz has been hitting a lot better, I'm struggling to find that go-to bat. The one name that is popping up, and again, it would be, you'd have some questions to figure out how you're going to get everybody playing time, but like a Joe Adell from the Angels. This year, 16 home runs, 244 average. If you want some pop, I mean, he's an outfielder, plays a lot in the right field. Maybe split some time between that and DH. Is that where it's at? I mean, this one, I don't see it happening. It'd be a great story. It'd be awesome. I don't see it happening because he'd have to. I mean, that's a Gold Glove guy. But Dalton Varsho's name's being thrown out there more as trade candidate. He's got 7 home runs so far this year. But where is that bat? Again, it's not up to us to try to figure it out. It'd be up to Pat Murphy and the Brewers to figure it all out. So Jim Bowden, who we kind of talked about, we played his clip early in the first hour where he thinks the Brewers are the top team to get Skubal. He's got a new piece out from The Athletic. 5 storylines to watch is obviously Skubal. I'm just trying to scroll through here because it literally just dropped a couple of minutes ago. I'm trying to see if he has anything about the Brewers. Maybe I'll look at it through the break here. Okay, it says, can the Brewers and Rays prove there is no need for a hard salary cap? If the Dodgers win their 3rd consecutive title this year with a payroll that is $300 million more than that of the Brewers and Rays, it will just fuel the owners who want to impose a lockout for the entire 2027 season in order to get a hard salary cap like in the NFL, NBA, and NHL. However, if there is a World Series between the Brewers and the Rays, and one of them acquires Skubal at the deadline, and the other team also adds big, then the argument for the cap should lessen during these labor negotiations and open a clearer path to an agreement in time for 2027. The MLBPA Player Association should be rooting hard for those small market teams to outmaneuver the big market teams at the deadline. I mean, I buy that. I don't think that they've got a whole lot of say in this thing. He does list Matt Arnold, front office leaders under the least amount of pressure. The Dodgers, Andrew Friedman, and then Matt Arnold. Arnold has the second best team in the sport despite having one of the smallest payrolls. His farm system is loaded. Even if he does nothing, the Brewers are very likely to win the NL Central. He'll try to make an impact and take a shot at acquiring another playoff starter, but there is no pressure if he doesn't land one. Would you agree with that? Brewers fans, would you agree with that? Is Matt Arnold under any pressure to make a move? Do you agree with that narrative? Or do you feel like, no, he definitely is under pressure because you've got a first-place team in contention to being one of the best teams in Major League Baseball. He's got to make a move to go over the Dodgers, a move that moves the needle. How do you look at it? I understand both cases. Oh, he's loaded on the depth. He's got all this. I mean, he's doing it without all these big. Yeah, it makes sense that if you want to say, no, he's not under any pressure. But it also makes sense if you make the argument that, yeah, he is under pressure because, all right, you're doing all this with this roster. If you add a big piece, that could take you over the top. So, is Matt Arnold, in your opinion, under any pressure to make a big move by the deadline? What do you think? Bo Bichette, would that be an option? I mean, he's with the Mets this year. He's got 10 home runs at third base. The Blue Jays last year. If you had to upgrade one everyday position, offensive position, where would that be? We've got, really quick because time's running out. I got like 30 seconds. Zach says, if Skubal does go to the Dodgers, the Brewers absolutely have to go get another pitcher if they want to compete in the playoffs and potentially another good bat. Bo says, I say we definitely get Freddie from the Mets. He'd be a great starter for us. He was pretty good last year. And why not get Skubal as well? Blank the Dodgers. I think you know where I'm going with that one. So, all right, halftime's here. We're going to take a quick news break. Send me your messages for Mr. Jake Boakes. Text them on over, 715-830-1912. He's joining us at the bottom of the hour. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Halftime's over with, and we are on to the third quarter already on this Thursday morning. Thanks for hanging out with us and making us a part of your start. Whether you are listening on the radio dials, you got a couple of those, 105.1 FM, 790 AM, available to stream up online at sportstalk1051.com. Got your Alexa devices, the Wisco Sports App, and, of course, the video stream that is up and rolling on YouTube here this morning. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we'll catch up with Mr. Jake Boakes, Conservation Warden for the great state of Wisconsin. So send us your questions for Jake if you have them. All right, hit me up with a quick text, 715-830-1912. 715-830-1912. We'll get back to plenty more baseball talk here as we are inching closer and closer to the trade deadline. Brewers getting shellacked yesterday against the Giants. Off day today for the Crew as they get set to begin a 3-game series against the Angels starting tomorrow. But a couple questions I've thrown out there for you that I want your input. Don't be shy, okay? There's no right or wrong answer in this thing. 1, do you think Matt Arnold is under any pressure? And it could be just from the fan base, just in general. But do you feel like Matt Arnold is under any pressure to make a big move? 2, do you go all in for a Skubal? Do you go all? Do you be uber aggressive? Might have to overpay. And then third, if Skubal is, in fact, traded to the Dodgers, do you think then the Brewers have to be extra aggressive and be like, okay, we got to counter that. We've got to counter that move. And it might take a couple or a few moves to counter that. What do you think? All right, I want to hear from you. Give me your thoughts on it. 715-830-1912 or hit us up on the texting line and the Section 105 Section 105 chat on our YouTube stream. So coming up just past 9 o'clock, we're going to get Hunter Baumgart's thoughts on the whole thing. Hunter Baumgardt, Brewers reporter for, Brewers reporter for Fox Sports Radio Wisconsin, host of the baseball pregame show and the Milwaukee Baseball Tonight. So we'll get his thoughts on what should be a very newsworthy, I would think, interesting trade deadline coming up here. What would your reaction be if the Brewers just stand pat? Would you be sad? Would you be upset? Would you be okay? Would you be like, yeah, see, typical? I was expecting that. I'm fully buying. I'm ready to be disappointed. I'm ready to be heartbroken. Let's just, maybe let's just do this thing now. Why not? Let's go. Let's go. Go all in. I'm ready. Why not? I want to see it. We got day 2 of Packers training camp also coming up a little bit later on this morning. 10:30 practice. So yesterday, Goody, LaFleur chatting with the media a little bit. For some reason, Packers are already banged up. They were banged up before practice number 1. A little bit more banged up now. It's like, great. I mean, what the heck's going on? Something interesting. I know it's not Packers related, but Mike McCarthy saw this just a little bit ago. They're not doing Steelers. They're not going to be doing live tackling in training camp. No live tackling. He said that we won't do live tackling. I've done live tackling in the past. Every drill's been evaluated. There's a GPS component behind everything we do. There's more stress that we need to apply to our training situations than just going to the ground. The footwork is the priority. It will always be about the feet and everything we do, whether that's tackling, blocking, ball security. It tracks with McCarthy did do little to no live tackling following the 2011 CBA that he eliminated two-a-day practices. Avoiding injury is the biggest reason for teams being conservative, and it's a practice plan, and it's top of mind for McCarthy's rationale. Whereas a little bit different, Mike Tomlin and the Steelers, they were very physical in their training camps. So that might be worth watching. No live tackling at all for the Steelers. Might be worth watching and just kind of comparing that to injuries throughout. I don't know if that will necessarily, and that's going to be the debate. If the Steelers go throughout the season without having any major injuries or long-term injuries, a lot of people point to that, whether that's the big reason or not. Or if they have a lot of injuries, people will point to that as like, see, should have been used to it. Should have been taking some hits. So I don't even really know if there's going to be a right or wrong answer in this thing. Everybody's looking for an edge. Everybody is looking for just, something. And I think that's the biggest thing that these teams, these coaches, these training staffs, the biggest edge that they're trying to find is, how do you stay healthy? You talk about game plans, offensive game plans, defensive game plans, play calling. But I really think a lot of these teams, if they could find that one thing or a few things that help them stay healthy, that would be the biggest advantage that these teams can find. The Athletic has a piece up, top 10 offensive play caller rankings to determine the league's best offensive play callers. They talked to 8 defensive play callers and defensive assistant coaches from around the league. And this is how it fell out. Where does Matt LaFleur rank? Again, these are ranked by defensive play callers and defensive assistants. Number 1, Kyle Shanahan. Number 2, Sean McVay. Number 3, Ben Johnson. Number 4, Matt LaFleur. Last year, he was ranked 6th. This year, 4. Says the Packers have only finished outside of the top 10 in offensive DVOA once since LaFleur was hired in 2019. He had the benefit of coaching prime Aaron Rodgers early in his Packers tenure, but even as the team transitioned to Jordan Love and dealt with major injuries to key players, the Packers have consistently been one of the NFL's best offenses. Love missed 2 games last season. It was knocked out of 1 game early. Packers lost tight end Tucker Kraft for the season in Week 9, and receiver Christian Watson began the season on the PUP list. Green Bay still finished 6th in offensive DVOA and 8th in points per drive. I think he does a good job of tailoring their game plan, an AFC defensive coordinator explained. It's a great testament to his play calling abilities with what he was able to do when Jordan Love was out and Malik Willis is in, and kind of tailoring the offense to the different skill sets that both of them had. Because they were doing some different things in the run game when Malik Willis was in versus Jordan Love. And even some of the pistol, run game was different than kind of under the center run game. LaFleur has evolved his system after coming from the McVay tree. He developed one of the best shotgun run games that doesn't involve the quarterback as a runner by mixing in wing T concepts. And he's one of the first coaches to call quick game to one side, but have crossers coming from the other. His best attribute is how he tailors concepts to play to the strengths of whoever he has on the field. In the last couple of seasons, several players were in and out of the lineup for whom he's had to design plays. You don't have Mike Evans, a defensive coach said. He's out there using jet motion and scheming guys open with Jordan Love, who's been developing over the past 3 years. LaFleur definitely tailors his pass concepts to different skill sets of his receivers. Watson emerged as a consistent deep ball threat, but the Packers still haven't had a bona fide number one receiver since they traded Devontae Adams. LaFleur has found ways to play to the strengths of good receivers with varying skill sets. All right. The rest of the list, Liam Cohen at 5, Andy Reid 6, Shane Steichen at 7, Josh McDaniels at 8, Clint Kubiak 9, and then Mike McDaniel at 10. Honorable mentions, Sean Payton, Kevin O'Connell, Brian Schottenheimer, Joe Brady, just some of them. So Matt LaFleur, number 4. I'm sure there's a decent portion of Packers fans who would respectfully disagree. But hey, that's from, again, defensive coordinators, defensive coaches that have to game plan going up against him. Now, I also, I'm sure there's going to be a big chunk saying, yeah, he's a good play caller, but is he a good head coach? That's probably one of the issues that some Packers fans have. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back with plenty more. Let's do a little 3 up, 3 down. We'll do 3 up, 3 down coming up after the break before we get to Mr. Jake Bolk's final call for any questions for Jake. Text them on over 715-830-1912. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. It happens every single year. 1 minute you're outside, you're having some backyard barbecues. Maybe you're heading to the lake. You got baseball games, little league games, softball games. And then the next thing you know, you're shopping for school supplies and wondering where the heck did summer go? I mean, for crying out loud, we're just a couple days away from August. Before the backpacks come out, though, and the busy fall schedule takes over, now is the perfect time to freshen up your home with new flooring from Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. Whether it's soft new carpet for the living room, maybe some luxury vinyl planks to give your home a whole new look, the team at Carpet City Flooring Center will help you find the perfect floor for your family and your budget. They're locally owned, they know Wisconsin homes, and they're committed to making the process easy from start to finish. Make the most of these last weeks of summer. Stop on in to Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire today, because home is where Wisconsin families make their best memories. We got Jordan on the video stream saying, if the Dodgers get Skubal, I don't think the Brewers need to panic buy and overpay. If they were going to overpay, they should have done it for Skubal. Make a move only if it makes sense. I don't think Arnold is under any pressure to make a deal. This team is good enough to win it all, barring any major injuries. If there ever was a year to go get a guy like Skubal, this feels like it, though. I'm really excited to talk to Hunter coming up in a little over half an hour to get his take on this, and maybe kind of what's the talk like around the team when it's with all this chit chat and such. So let's do some 3 up and 3 down though. Oh, choking. Excuse me. 3 up and 3 down before we get to Jake Boakes here. So let's start off with let's do the 3 ups. Cooper Pratt is my first 3 up. I mean, you look at what he's doing offensively as of late here. I mean, he's been awesome. Last 7 games, 348. Last 15 games, last 49 at-bats. He's hitting 367, couple home runs, a .531 slugging percentage, 10 RBIs. I mean, Cooper Pratt, when he was called, we all knew that, defense was his main thing, just needed some more improvement from the offensive side of things. Maybe started off a little slow offensively, but he's been kicking it into gear. And in 109 at-bats this year, he's hitting .284 with a .761 OPS. 9 stolen bases, too. Getting that type of offensive production from the shortstop position for the Brewers has been a welcome sight. Hopefully, this kind of continues. I mean, I don't expect him to continue to hit 350, 348, 367, whatever it may be for the rest of the season. That would be flipping awesome. But for this case, 3 up, 3 down, it's definitely up. I mean, you could go with a couple other ones. You could go Lara on there, too. That's definitely one as well. But I narrowed it down to 1. I'm going to give it up for Cooper Pratt. My other up, I'm going to go Tucker Kraft for a couple different reasons. One, sure, still seems like he's on path to start week 1. That's up. That's great. But then Goody yesterday saying, yep, they're going to sign him, that he's going to get a contract, and they're hoping that it's going to be, that's the expectation, expectation is going to be before the season. Which means Tucker Kraft is probably going to be one of the highest paid tight ends in the National Football League. So that is definitely trending up. That's a 3 up. Tucker Kraft's going to be around for a while, and he's going to be paid handsomely. My other up, bear with me now when I mention this person's name. It's a little up. Now, I'll preface this by saying I don't know how the season's going to go. I don't know if he's going to be there long term. But it's been very negative and very down for the last couple of years, or actually throughout his whole tenure yet. But a little bit up. I'm going to go Luke Fickell. I think he's saying the right things. You go to that athletic piece where, I mean, Chris McIntosh essentially gave him an out, and he's like, no, I want to be here to fix this. And at Big Ten Media Days, he's saying the right things. Now, whether that translates to the field, we got to wait and see until the fall. But I like what I'm hearing. I like the mindset. We just got to see it on the field. So I'm giving him a little bit of credit here for an up. I am putting another up on this thing. So I've got 4 ups. Because I got to mention, and Brandon's going to talk more about it tomorrow, I would imagine. But Jack Strahan, Bloomer native, he's with the Atlanta Falcons now. Michael Penix Jr. banged up. Tua banged up. Jack Strahan was getting reps with the ones yesterday as training camp opened. He's getting some opportunities, so got to put that up there. Let's go down. What are my things that are going down right now? Luke Musgrave. It does not sound great. When you talk about neck injuries, and as Brian Gutekunst alluded to yesterday, they're very cautious when it comes to neck injuries. He's on the PUP list. It doesn't sound good. I don't want to overreact too much, but it doesn't paint a good picture of his availability in a very crucial year of his career. And you look at the tight end position overall, there's question marks. And I think you've seriously have to consider improving the depth at that position. Tucker's there. Tucker's going to be the main guy, but I don't think it would hurt to look out there and say, all right, is there somebody that is a better option as a number 2 tight end than what we currently have without Lucas Musgrave? And if that answer is yes, you got to make a move for it. You got to make a play for it. So down, I got to go Lucas Musgrave and kind of, the tight end group outside of Tucker Kraft. Because, knock on wood, you're potentially a injury away from like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do here at tight end? I don't want to go through that. I don't want to go through that. Down, I'm going to go Warriors. Like, okay, you got an old team. And I thought the natural fit would have been LeBron pairing up with Steph Curry and Draymond Green and all that. And that didn't happen. So, where do you go from here now if you're the Warriors? What do you do? Because, you've got one of the greatest players of all time, Steph Curry, at the back end of his career. He still could shoot. What do you do now? Because I thought it was just a perfect fit. But now what? So I got them going down too. My final one, usually I don't care a whole lot about this, and it's not my team, but I got to say, these Buffalo Bills nickel jerseys, the outfit, the gray, okay, but the helmet, I don't know. Some of these, I'll just say this, in general, a lot of these new jerseys, I don't get the designs. Maybe it's just because I'm old. And I'm an old man now in the front yard. And it's all about the kids, and it's all about selling it to the younger generation and making the moolah. I don't get it. I'm getting nervous about what this Packers one's going to be. I got to be announcing it fairly soon. I think it's in August, but for the rivalry jersey, I'm nervous. I'm nervous what this is going to look like. All right, that's 3 up plus 1, and then 3 down. We got to take a break, and then Jake Boakes coming up, answering your outdoor-related questions. We'll be back after these few words. Looking for your next great night out? Well, make it the VFW Post 305 in Eau Claire with live music, exciting events happening throughout the month, great food, cold drinks, and a fun, welcoming atmosphere. There's always a reason to stop by. Whether you're meeting up with friends or looking for something fun to do, the VFW Post 305 has something for everyone. So make sure you're following the VFW Post 305 on Facebook to stay up to date on all their latest events and entertainment. That's the VFW Post 305, located 1300 Star Avenue in Eau Claire. Wrapping up the month of July, we're getting closer to August, and maybe that's starting to feel a little bit more like fall for a lot of you, especially with bow hunting season and all that fun stuff. Let's chat with our good friend, Mr. Jake Boakes, Conservation Warden for the great state of Wisconsin. Good morning, Jake. How you doing?
I am doing great. How about you?
Not bad, man. Not bad. I don't know why, but like August, it's still summer. I get it, but that's when it feels like maybe, all right, hunting season is right around the corner. I'm ready for fall. I'm ready to get into the deer stand, and I know that's like we got tags coming up for sale in the middle of August too. It feels like once the calendar turns to August, it's almost hunting mode.
Yeah. No, I mean that's generally how it goes each year, but I think this continued heat wave that we've had is really pushing people, kind of getting people pretty quickly done with summer.
Yeah.
I think there was like one cool day last week where I was working with another warden, and we were both like, I think we're ready for fall.
Yeah.
We're ready to start patrolling for other stuff, start talking, hunting. Obviously with August coming up, that was on the mind, but I think that cooler morning and that early patrol just kind of changes your mindset. So, yeah, I don't blame people, and that's how I feel. And, yeah, it is. I mean, we're all looking forward to that September, October now. So, getting ready for it.
Yep, exactly. We did have a question. I'm going to try my best because I think there was a little some typos here. But we had a question that asked, recently the village of Lake Hallie approved a water ski course. I think what they're asking is, does everybody, the question everybody has, can the course stay in all the time? Then what about at night if you're trying to navigate, or does the DNR have to permit that course to be in the water?
Yeah, so without knowing exactly, I guess I haven't heard of what Lake Hallie would have approved or not, or what exactly it is. But without knowing what it is, I guess I can't give the perfect answer, but what I can say is that there are a few different things that could potentially need to be permitted. So, starting with say, Lake Altoona has the ski jump, for the ski sprites, and sometimes they have it on the Chippewa River. And if you have a jump, something like that, then that has to be permitted, through the DNR, through our Water Resources Department, because that's basically putting an object like the anchors on the bed of a lake, and you have to have permits for that. So something like that would need to be permitted through the DNR. And again, I don't know what the Lake Hallie decision here is. Maybe part of the decision is working, they know that they got to work with the DNR. Maybe they have already worked with the DNR. As a conservation warden, we don't get too involved with that part of the process. But if it's a jump, it would need to be permitted. If it's buoys, just like your slow don't wake buoys, different things like that. If they got different ski buoys or whatever, those generally have to be permitted through the township or the local municipality, and then signed off by the DNR. The one thing that doesn't need to be permitted, and anyone can technically do it, is a slalom course. So I don't know if they approved that, but if it's a slalom course where they're just putting out the red, pink, yellow, whatever little buoys or little balls or floats, however you want to describe it. I'm sorry, I'm not a skier. Those actually don't have to be permitted. There is there's a time frame on there that you a minimum or a maximum time frame, something like 10 or 14 days. But anyone can kind of put out a slalom course for a limited time without having to go through any permitting processes.
Interesting. I guess I never would have thought, it makes sense, but you don't think about, the ski sprite show in Altoona, and, I know the Dells has a lot of water shows
Yeah.
in that.
Yep.
So, but yeah, DNR would have to be involved in some aspects of that.
Yeah, I mean, the way to look at it is, there's rules for reasons, and it's like if every person or every third person on the river, on the lake, decided that they wanted to become the next ski jumper extraordinaire, and they all put out their own stuff, then all of a sudden we got all these issues and navigational stuff, and so, you try to keep it at the same playing field, which is the reason for the permitting, as well as there's a lot of state laws to protect the environment that restrict either placing or depositing stuff on any sort of water bed, whether it's a river, creek, lake, Great Lake, as well as removing stuff, removing sediment, removing material. So anytime you put something on it, unless it's temporary, like a boat anchor, or you're just doing it momentarily, those got to be permitted for protection issues and stuff like that.
Jake, I know it probably doesn't affect our area too much, but in case we have people that go over there, did I see that Saturday, August 1st, is the application deadline for the Upriver Lakes sturgeon spearing season? Yeah,
so that's coming up. I mean, obviously, that season is, I don't know, what month it is, 8, so that season's about 6 months away, 5 months away, but yeah, just like everything else, like bear and trapping, fur bearer stuff, if you want to get the permits, you want to get the tags, whatever, you got to get those early. You got to get in early. So you're right. You got to, if you want to try to get an upriver sturgeon spearing tag, you got to get your stuff in by this weekend. Anyone can buy a sturgeon spearing tag and go out on Lake Winnebago. These are specifically for the Lake Poygan's, the Wolf River system, that whole system there, northwest of Lake Winnebago. And that's strictly because you got a way higher chance of being successful there. So there's a lot more pressure. So they try to limit the number of participants up there versus Lake Winnebago. You could decide the day before the season that you want to go spear one and run over to Winnebago.
Gotcha.
And go.
Hey, Jake, I've noticed an increase in the last, couple weeks, few weeks going up to the lands, but, you've seen more of the trucks out and the dogs out training for bear season. Yep. And I know, we got about a month yet till bear season, but a lot of people out there running those dogs. What are some of the main or most common issues you may run into at this point in time when it comes to people kind of training their dogs or running their dogs, or do you run into a lot of complaints or issues?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I guess hounding and baiting, or training and baiting are all open. People are getting ready. You're right. We're just over a month away from those seasons opening up. Generally the biggest things we see are going to be like, especially with hounding, it's just the dog trespassing, the dog owners not controlling them appropriately, or maybe setting them up for failure by releasing them close to a private property line where they don't have permission. So, that's a big thing, whether you're a hound hunter or you're a private landowner. The big thing is communication on both ends. If you're a private landowner and you want to allow them on there, then let them know, you're good to go. So there's no question about it. If you don't, then let them know, you prefer them to stay off your property, keep the dogs off the property. That's definitely your right. Same with the hound hunters is that if you are going to run them, you got to set them up for success. You're in control of that dog. You hear people a lot say, well, I can't control where my dog goes. And it's like, well, you can and you can't. You're definitely a lot more in control of that dog than than where that bear is going to run or where the coyote's going to run, stuff like that. So it's still on the owner to maintain that dog, keep it on the public land or the private land where they have permission to do it. So that's an ongoing thing, whether we get involved or not, whether that's just a neighborhood type of conversation that happens. I'd say the trespassing is a big thing with the hounding. Otherwise, when it comes to bear hunting, the biggest things for us is always licensing and whatnot, illegal bear baits. But then a big one with just being up, just having having to wait so long to get tags in the north are people that are kind of skirting that line and trying to kill a bear in a zone they don't have a tag for. So that's always something we want to make sure people, if someone waits 10 years and another person waits 3, but they're hunting in the same spot, that's not fair. It's not fair to the person that waited. It's not fair to the other people that didn't get a tag. So if you don't have a tag for a zone, you can't hunt in it, and that's a pretty important thing.
I know, just to kind of feed off that, it might be a hot button topic right now, but there was the incident where a dog was killed by a wolf. I think it was confirmed by the USDA Wildlife Services in the county of Eau Claire. I think it was at the town of Wilson. So, I mean, how involved does the DNR get into a situation like that, or a warden in your case?
Wardens don't get involved with any of the depredation stuff. When it comes to that, there's different state and federal agencies that look into it. The state reimburses some of the hunters per state law on it, but to be honest, I'm not sure if it's DNR biologists that go out there and confirm the kill or damage people, or if it's like USDA or APHIS or someone that goes out there that confirms it's a wolf kill. Because a big part of that is confirming that it's a wolf that actually killed it, and not a different species, or it ran too hard and had a heart attack type thing. So they have to confirm that, however it is. They got video of a wolf doing it. They got paw prints or claw marks or teeth marks, whatever. They confirm it, but wardens generally don't get involved in that unless, we get a call that maybe the wolf's attacking people, or there's a human safety component of it. We'll probably respond out there. We would respond out there. But as far as like the dog aspect of it, unfortunately that is it's a side effect's the wrong word, but it's a potential thing that can happen.
A risk.
When you're running. A risk, thank you.
Yeah.
When you're running bears and coyotes and in wolf country and stuff like that.
Hey, Jake, before I let you go, you told me what you're going to be doing here today, but, maybe something that a lot of people don't realize when it comes to becoming a warden or the process of it. You're doing some fitness testing for some potential candidates? Yeah,
so part of the hiring process, I think we talked about in the spring, or we mentioned that our application period was opening up. But if you've ever been a part of a law enforcement hiring process for any department in any state, they're long processes. And if you haven't, I'm here to tell you it's a long process. So some police departments that have, a few people apply, they can kind of rip through it a little bit quicker in a couple months. But in a big statewide hiring process where you get 600, 700, 800 applicants, you got to narrow down to your top 10, right? So there's a lot of steps, and there's a lot of coordination. There's a lot of different things different factors you got to pass to get hired. So for us, you put your application in, that gets rated, and then you either pass on from there or not if you're in the top whatever percent they're pulling through. And then there's like a phone interview. Then there's hiring, or then there's a like in-person interview, and then after that there's a fitness assessment, which is what we're doing. After the fitness, then there's background, potentially another interview, and then the conditional offer, which includes drug testing, psychology, or a psych exam and different stuff like that. So it's a process. But today, part of my role in our department is that I'm the lead fitness assessor. So I run every applicant through with help from other wardens, obviously, but run all 600, all couple hundred candidates that have made it so far through these fitness exams. They're Department of Justice, DOJ. It's every officer in the state has to pass these, whether you're becoming a warden, State Patrol, Eau Claire PD, whatever. Every officer has to pass these entrance exams to get into the academy and to exit the academy. There's some exit fitness standards as well. So as part of the warden hiring process, we do that. That's where I'm going today. There's a few people that because of military reasons and other reasons weren't able to make the big hiring process we had a couple weeks ago. So we're going to run them through that. They got to do some push-ups, some sit-ups, some vert jumping, a 1.5-mile run, a 300-meter run, an Illinois agility run. So it's not too bad, but it's definitely a part of the hiring process. And personally, I'm glad. I think fitness is obviously an important part of being a law enforcement officer of any department. And so I'm glad that there's some standards that all law enforcement officers have to pass to get in.
I know. I can tell you right now, I would not pass that. So I just know there's. I know I couldn't.
I'm sure I could put you through a little training process and get you going here.
Oh boy, we might have to.
When I get you out on that, I was gonna say I'll get you out on that ride along this fall, and then I'll
Yes.
put you through some fitness exams.
All right.
Out in the field.
I'm up for it, dude. I'm up for it. So. All right, dude. Hey, appreciate the time. Best of luck today, and hey, we'll catch up with you again next week. Okay, sir.
Yeah, that sounds great. Appreciate it.
You got it. There you go. There's Jake Boakes, Conservation Warden for the great state of Wisconsin. We got to take a quick break. We're running out of time here for the third hour. We'll be back after these quick words. If you're from Wisconsin, you know there is something special about this time of year. Days, they're going to be getting a little shorter. The evenings are cooling off a bit, and before you know it, hunting season will be right here. That means now is the time to get your gear ready. Whether you need a new firearm, ammunition, optics, or just some expert advice, make Tilda Gun your first stop. The folks at Tilda Gun aren't just there to sell you equipment, they're hunters too. They know what works, they're happy to answer your questions, and they'll help make sure that you're ready long before opening morning arrives. So don't wait until the last minute. Stop by Tilden Gun, get geared up, and start counting down the days to another great Wisconsin fall. Tilden Gun, helping Wisconsin hunters make the most of every season. Best of luck, and be safe in the great outdoors. Just a couple minutes left to the top of the hour. To kick off the 9 o'clock hour, we're going to be chatting with Hunter Baumgardt, Brewers reporter. Hunter Baumgardt will be joining us. Lots to discuss, not only just the current state of the Milwaukee Brewers coming off a series loss to the Giants, but trade deadline coming up here on Monday, and rumors are hot surrounding the Brewers. Will they be big players, major players? For one, Tarek Skubal, Mason Miller, Freddie Peralta, whoever else out there. Does he see the Brewers potentially making a big move? So we're going to talk to Hunter coming up in just a few minutes. And then we'll get back to a little more football talk here as day 2 training camp is going to be underway here for the green and gold. We're going to be chatting with our good friend Rob Domofsky sometime next week to get some training camp updates from Green Bay after we get a few practices in. So, but that'll be coming up probably the early parts of next week. So, continue to send us your thoughts. Do you want the Brewers to be big-time players, to go all in, to overpay for Tarek Skubal? Do you want to see that happen? Or do you want to see them stand pat? Do you think Matt Arnold is under pressure to make a move? We'll hit that up and more coming up in the next hour. So we got some news updates, and then we'll kick off the final hour on this Thursday morning, chatting some more Milwaukee Brewers. Excited to get Hunter's thoughts on the trade deadline. He's coming up after these quick words. It is the final hour on this Thursday morning, July 30th. Thanks for hanging out with us and making us a part of your starts. Whether you are listening on the radio dials of 105.1 FM, 790 AM, online, sportstalk1051.com, YouTube, you got the app, Alexa, smart devices, all that fun stuff. We're everywhere. We appreciate it. We got plenty of Brewers chats coming your way this hour, and nobody better to help us break it all down than Brewers reporter for Fox Sports Radio Wisconsin, host of the baseball pregame show in Milwaukee Baseball Tonight, Mr. Hunter Baumgardt is joining the program again this morning. Good morning, Hunter. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back, Dan. And there is no shortage of things to talk about when it comes to the Brewers right now, which is a blast.
Exactly. Well, let's get right to it. I mean, rumors are rampant. Reports are all out there, whether it's Jeff Passan or whoever else. I mean, Skubal is the big name that's being out there. I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are on this whole ordeal, but I mean, do you think this is possible that the Brewers could potentially get Skubal, and would they be willing, in your opinion and your expertise, would they be willing to maybe overpay to make sure they get his services?
Yeah, it's really the question of the trade deadline right now, and I think he might be the first domino to fall just because I think a lot of teams are, interested obviously in his services, and so that might be the first domino before some of those other pitchers go, or maybe some teams are like, yeah, we're not going to try to bid for what the Tigers are asking for. I think it is a possibility that the Brewers get Tarik Skubal. I do not think it's likely. I think it's still likely that he ends up with maybe the Dodgers. I mean, it could be Braves or Rays, but I don't know. I just, if history tells us anything, it tells us that Tarik Skubal is going to be an LA Dodger by next week. But you hope that maybe this year can be a little different. It sounds like the Brewers want to be more aggressive at this trade deadline. It just depends on how aggressive they want to be. And does that consist of giving up some of your top prospects like you haven't done in the past, really, maybe even since CC Sabathia? I mean, this is a deal. If you get a deal for Tarik Skubal, this is a deal like CC Sabathia and one you haven't done since then. Maybe the Zach Greinke deal, but the Greinke deal wasn't during the season. So that's the difference of this, is you're in a pennant race. You have one of the best records in baseball. You got the 6-game division lead as we sit here now, and you're looking towards October and trying to, obviously you want to win the division and beat everybody else, but you're also knowing that you'll have to probably get through the Dodgers to get to the World Series, and that's where you want to go. So if those are your aspirations, they absolutely should be more aggressive, and they should try to get Skubal. I don't know if they are going to be willing to give up what the Tigers want to, just because they have to think about the future in the small market. That just is the reality of the situation. But there's just so much smoke to the fire. You talked about the reports and rumors and everything. If the Brewers had no chance at Skubal, I don't think these many people would be talking about them in the Skubal conversation. In years past, sometimes it's been, for this top guy, yeah, it's all these teams, and maybe the Brewers would be interested, but they're probably not going to give it up. But this year it seems a little different, so I'm eager to see how that plays over the next 5 days.
If it were to cost, let's say, because I saw some reports saying the Tigers may be looking for a major league ready arm, and if it were to cost either Logan Henderson, Brandon Sproat, or Shane Drowan, do you think the Brewers would be willing to give up one of those three guys, considering that would also affect the future, as you just mentioned?
It would, for sure. I think, of those three, I personally would want to keep Henderson the most, and I would think the Tigers would be interested in Henderson the most. I mean, when articles have been written about what pitcher the Brewers would give up, Logan Henderson is usually mentioned as the guy. I heard Jim Bowden, the former GM, talk about possibly Brandon Sproat being included in the deal. I don't know if they'd go ahead, and trade Shane Drowan after just acquiring him this past offseason. So I'm eager to see, if that would even be the case, which one of those the Tigers would get back. I would think that the Tigers would want a major league ready arm, like you said. It would make sense. They're not that far out of the race for this year, but even for years to come, you want a guy who's proven if you're going to give up a Tarik Skubal. But, Yeah, I think would they be willing to? They have so much depth at that position. Obviously, it's being tested right now because you have guys that are hurt, like Quinn Priester, like Brandon Woodruff, and obviously Kyle Harrison, who makes a rehab start for the Timber Rattlers tonight, and hopefully he'll be back next week. With the depth they have, though, at that starting rotation, they got Coleman Crow in the minors. Obviously, Robert Gasser's been a part of this Major League rotation for a while now. I think you can part with one of those guys, again, because you're getting Skubal back. And then, look, the offseason is going to be what the offseason is. Coleman Crow has, more experience, whether it be AAA or at the big league level the rest of the year. And so you're going to have more options come next season, going into next season. Obviously, Skubal won't be on your team next season. He's going to sign an extension elsewhere. But I just think it's not maybe as dire of a situation if they do trade one of those guys plus some prospects as it maybe has been in the past, because their farm system is so loaded right now. They can make a significant deal and still feel pretty good about their farm system. Is it going to be top 3 anymore? Probably not. But hey, if it could net you a World Series, it's worth it.
Yeah, you mentioned Jim Bowden, and he also mentioned Andrew Fisher, which I don't know about you, and some Brewers fans have chimed in this morning like, we don't want to. I mean, this is a guy who's hit over 30 home runs this year in the minor leagues. He made a name for himself in the World Baseball Classic. Obviously, it sounds like Made's untouchable. Would you consider Andrew Fisher untouchable for the Brewers at this point?
Like, I personally want him to be untouchable because I'm fast. I love what he's doing. Leads the minor leagues in home runs. At last check, like, he has been having an amazing year, and it's just absolutely tearing it up. And looks like, that the high draft pick that they selected him at. So I'm apprehensive to give him up, but I don't think you can say anybody's untouchable except for, as far as in the farm system, except for Jesus Madej. I really don't think you can, because he is their top prospect, yes. But otherwise, if you are going to get one of those guys, now the Brewers might be thinking, yes, he's untouchable, and that may take them out of the running for a Tarek Skubal. I don't know. I don't know those negotiations and how they're going down as we speak. But I think I just think if you want to go get one of those guys, you probably are going to have to part with someone you really think has significant potential. Now, they're doing it. Andrew Fisher's doing it all in single A and high A and double A. So obviously he has not done it at triple A at the major league level yet, but there's no signs of that power stopping and just abruptly stopping. And obviously the Brewers would love to have more power in their lineup in years to come. So that is definitely something to consider. I would not love to see Andrew Fisher traded, but I did see, I saw some of that as well. I saw some people on social media, and I saw one that was like, this would just, giving up Andrew Fisher would ruin the season. And I was thinking to myself, well, if you give up Andrew Fisher and you get Tarek Skubal and you win a World Series, I don't think a World Series championship season can be necessarily ruined. Mm-hmm. So that's the trade-off, right? It's the future. It's some of these guys compared to, okay, you won 97 games last year. You got to the NLCS. You're going for your 4th straight division title. You're competing for a top seed in the National League. You're competing for a bye. You got a 6-game lead in the division. At some point, it is time to go for it. And as much as maybe we want to wait for a Fisher to come up or a Madej to come up or a Pena to come up or some of these guys in the infield or even any pitching prospects you may want, that's great and all, but you're not guaranteed to be 26 games over 500 on July 30th in years to come, and you are right now. So, man, let's take our chances maybe. And I wonder if that's why the Brewers are reportedly going to be a little more aggressive at this deadline.
So Jeff Passan also said in his latest one that I saw that he is hearing that everybody's just kind of assuming it's going to be the Dodgers for Skubal. If that is the case, if it is the Dodgers that do land him, do you think the Brewers then, like, okay, we need to have a plan B and we need to be uber aggressive, whether that's bringing back Freddie Peralta or another starting pitcher and then maybe bringing in another bullpen arm? Because, I mean, it seems like the focus is on just the Dodgers here at this point. If they don't get Skubal, do you think Matt Arnold shifts gears and time's coming up? I mean, the deadline is Monday, that he has to be extra aggressive then to add other pieces?
I think a lot of this is going to fall here in the last couple of days simply because teams are still trying to decide if they're going to be buyers or sellers here. And so these last couple games before the deadline might even decide it. So I think you're going to see most trades happen Saturday, Sunday, Monday, as much as we want them to happen now. I think it's less about if another team gets Skubal, whether it's the Dodgers or even, I guess, the report out of The Athletic last night was that the Cubs are seeing Skubal as their blockbuster option. I don't know if that's necessarily as realistic, especially because teams like the Brewers and Dodgers, if they're willing to, can offer more in their farm system than the Cubs can. But that's another team you don't want to necessarily have throwing Skubal out there down the stretch. You face them 2 more times, one in Wrigley and one in American Family Field. And so, you know, end of August, early September. So you don't want that necessarily. So not that you play defense if you're Matt Arnold, right? You don't go and get a guy just because you don't want him to be on another team, but I'm sure it factors in just a little bit. I am interested when it comes to other pitchers, I think either way, you have to be trying to do that if you're Matt Arnold and the Brewers, because I think a veteran in this rotation would be key. Pat Murphy basically admitted as much in the last homestand, saying, asked, do you think a veteran, it'd be good for a veteran to be added to this rotation? He said, yeah. Now, I thought Lance McCullers Jr. might be a possibility for that. Obviously, that quickly did not pan out. Mm-hmm. But I'm interested to see, because there's other options there. Like you mentioned, the Freddie Peralta thing, whether it's a Robbie Ray or a Kevin Gossman or a Trevor Richards, or there's other guys that are pitching decently this year that you can add to that rotation. I think it'll be a good piece. Is it Tarik Skubal? No. But is it maybe more of a deal that the Brewers could do, and maybe they're a little more aggressive than in years past? Meaning they maybe give up a little more to get one of those guys, and they're kind of a stalwart down the stretch and hopefully can help you in the postseason as well. So I think I think Skubal probably is the first domino to fall. Maybe one of those other guys, one of them gets picked up or something or traded, so to speak. But I also I think with the Tarik Skubal situation, kind of once everybody says, okay, whoever got Skubal obviously is out of the running likely for those other guys, and then you move from there. I don't think it's a reactionary move from Arnold, because I think they're probably planning to hopefully add a piece to that starting rotation either way. But I do think Skubal is probably the first domino to fall.
Earlier in the season, off season, fans said we need another bat. We need another bat. They got to get another bat. And now that we are up to the trade deadline, maybe not hearing it as much. And you look across, Cooper Pratt's hitting well. Joey Ortiz is hitting well since being moved over to third base. You got Lara that's hitting well. Do the Brewers still need to add another bat, in your opinion? And if so, I mean, you look at this roster, where would that person play?
Well, that's the thing. We were discussing on the show this morning, like C.J. Abrams. And look, I mean, anybody would like to have C.J. Abrams on your team, but obviously you committed money to Cooper Pratt. He's your shortstop. C.J. Abrams is a shortstop. He's a power-hitting shortstop, which the Brewers could use more home runs. There's no doubt about that. Basically last in the league in that, and they have been for a while. But third base, I guess, would be the one place where I could see that they could upgrade, but there's just not a ton of market for that. And anybody who's going to be traded, because the market is pretty thin, is going to demand a high amount of return, I would think. And as much as, when we started the year, they had pretty good pitching depth, but unfortunately with Priester done for the year and Woodruff done for the year, and you don't know how these young guys are going to fare down the stretch, whether it be Henderson or Miz or anybody, Harrison, like any of these guys who are maybe going to work more than they ever have at the major league level. With not knowing that, I think getting pitching is probably the better, more priority. And honestly, a leverage bullpen arm would be good too. I don't necessarily think Mason Miller is going to be moved out of the Padres, and that would take a haul as well. But I think maybe, just a different arm that you could throw in a leverage role. Aaron Ashby's been a little shakier as of late. Uribe and McGill have been great over the last few months, but I think you want to add one more to that bullpen and make it even a little more shored up. I would be surprised if it's a low-level type of relief guy, I would be surprised if they don't go out and make a deal for a relief pitcher. I think that's still a priority. So in my list of what I think is a priority, just judging by what the Brewers have said and what they do, I would say likely it goes probably starting pitching, relief pitching, and then a bat. And unless it's maybe a bench bat. But then again, okay, say Frelick comes back. Okay, Perkins goes down. You have Lockridge coming back from injury. Sure, you can upgrade over some of those guys. You can upgrade obviously certainly over Perkins, who you have right now. But otherwise, I feel pretty good about that lineup. And it's just about the guys that the guys at the top of your lineup have to hit. I mean, Contreras has to hit. He's not been great as of late. Yelich has to hit. He's not been great as of late. Terang's turning it around a little bit, which is good. But, man, I mean, you just have to have the top of your lineup, or else you can Scooble all you want, but you got to have the top of your guy. You know, you got to have the top of your lineup hit. So that's I think more of what I would be thinking as a solution rather than a trade deadline acquisition.
Just two more questions here for you, Hunter. A lot of fans have said, well, maybe don't make a big move because they're worried about chemistry with this team and in the clubhouse. You would know more than I do, but I look at this and I see Pat Murphy. I see the leaders like a Christian Yelich and a lot of those guys. Is team chemistry something you would personally worry about if they were to acquire a player? Or do you think that clubhouse is so lock and step, led by Pat Murphy and these players, that wouldn't be an issue?
I think Matt Arnold in the front office is really good at being able to tell who is going to fit in that clubhouse and making sure they acquire the right guy. I think they put a lot of thought into it. And, obviously they care about culture in the clubhouse. I mean, it's been rare that there have been guys that have come in and not fit into that clubhouse while I've been covering the team over the last 4 or 5 years. Like, it just has been pretty seamless with a lot of the guys, and that's because they target guys who they think are going to fit well, and a lot of them do. They've gotten a lot of them right. And even if maybe their priorities are in a different place, I think Pat Murphy is pretty good, like you said, at making sure that they have their priorities. He sits down with these guys and, a guy, whoever it is, coming into the organization. And one of the first things he said, I remember when Cooper Pratt was called up, it was like his first meeting with Pratt was, look, you're playing for the name on the front of your jersey, not the back. And I think that's a message he usually uses with guys that come in, whether it's a prospect coming up or a guy coming in from a different organization. Now, if it's a veteran, obviously that conversation might be a little different, and there's different things you have to think about there. But I would be careful. I know there's, people are talking about maybe giving up a Sal Frelick considering how good Luis Lara is playing. And I love how Luis Lara is playing. He looks like a player, and it's been really fun to watch so far in his first, 20-some days in the big leagues. But Frelick, Jake Bauers called him the heartbeat of the team about a month ago. I would be careful, and I believe they will be. And Pat Murphy loves himself some Sal Frelick. I think that entire team loves the way Sal Frelick plays. His defense is Gold Glove caliber. Obviously, you hope that his offense can get better, but this guy was near a batting title last year, nearing 300, his batting average. So I would be careful with him. I think you trade away Sal Frelick, and I think there could be some. I think that could disrupt the clubhouse a little bit. Is it going to totally derail them? Probably not, but it's something I think you have to be aware of. And I think the Brewers specifically, and Matt Arnold was around for this back in 22, they all have learned from the Josh Hader deal, I think. So I think that is going to be in their minds as they approach Monday at 5.
Last question for you. Is Matt Arnold under any pressure, in your opinion, to make a move or not?
From like ownership?
Just maybe from like a fan perspective. I mean, we got a team that's competing for, the top spot, the best record, a World Series. Do you feel like there's a pressure, maybe even from himself, from within, to like, okay, I got to make a move to make sure that we get to that next step?
I think there's a little more. I think I think Matt Arnold has been really good at, playing for this year and the future years. And he did an interview on Foul Territory last Friday, and he's like, we obviously, and we really want to add to this team, but we also have to worry about what the team's going to look like, in a year as well. So he has been really good at balancing that. But I think just hearing what he has said and what he has said in some interviews here over the last couple of weeks, it just sounds like he's kind of feeling, I don't know if it's pressure, but more so like, man, we got so close to the World Series last year, and we got our core of offense back from last year, and our pitching seems to be pretty good as far as when they're healthy. And obviously, Miz is having a historic year, and Harrison's been great, and Drowan's been a great surprise, and hopefully Sproat can get on track. And obviously, Henderson has one of the best ERAs through his first 14 starts in the big leagues in franchise history. Like, they've got, and obviously the back end of the bullpen's been great over the last few months of Uribe and McGill. I think he's looking at it and saying, yeah, after last year and how close you came last year, I think you got to be feeling a little bit to say, okay, it's great and all to win the division. It's great and all to get a bye. It's great, but we gotta get to a World Series here in Milwaukee and win one, of course. And what that would mean, he talked about on Foul Territory last week about what that would mean to the city, what that would mean, to do it for, Bob Uecker's family and the whole deal. So I think he understands how much Brewers fans want to win one. And I wonder, not that he's very good at not being a GM like a fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think there are, if the situation presents itself, he may go a little more aggressive this year because this feels like it's kind of been all leading to this moment. As far as not necessarily the trade deadline, but it feels like they've been on an upward trajectory, finally won their first playoff series since 2018 last year. And if you want to continue that, the next step is winning a pennant and getting to the World Series, and being aggressive at the trade deadline just might help you do that.
Hunter Baumgardt, he is the Brewers reporter for Fox Sports 920, host of the baseball pregame show and Milwaukee Baseball Tonight. Dude, great stuff. Big thanks again for hanging out with us here in the Chippewa Valley and giving us your expertise and insight. And we got to catch up again after the trade deadline and break everything down if anything does happen.
Absolutely. Happy to jump on next week or whenever works for you, as we'll see what the Brewers do. I'm interested. But, yeah, thanks so much for having me on, Dan, and looking forward to next time.
You got it, buddy. There you go. There's Hunter Baumgardt. Great stuff, as always, from Hunter. Always appreciate him taking some time and joining us again up here in the Chippewa Valley. So, hey, let's take a quick break. Got to catch up, and we'll be back after these quick words. What's the latest and greatest going on at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire right now? How about a $1.77 Hy-Vee Midwest pork boneless and butterfly or America's cut chop, 8 ounces? Oh, yeah, that's a good deal. $1.97 Hy-Vee cheese shredded bar or cubed. Good for salads or maybe some like walking tacos in that. You've got for Gatorade, buy 5, get 5 for free. Gatorade sports drinks, 28 ounces. You got some ball games, tournaments. Stay hydrated, kids. You've got $3.99 Blue Ribbon Classic ice cream gallons. That's always a good treat for the kids, too, especially with some warmer temperatures. You want to save some money at the pump, too? How about taking advantage of some of their sales that come with perks? Like if you buy 100-count Hy-Vee K-Cup coffees, you earn 25 cents off per gallon at the pump, people. You can do a if you save money by shopping at Hy-Vee with your groceries, but also saving money at the gas pump. Also, some other deals going on. How about 3 for $9 Jack's Pizza? 3 pizzas for just $9. Make sure you're following the Hy-Vee in Eau Claire Facebook page for all the latest deals and sales, and maybe just like quick sales too. Sometimes they'll have like a 1-day or a 3-day sale, and they'll post it up on Facebook. So make sure you're following on their Facebook page for the latest and greatest. That's all going on at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. Huge thanks again to Hunter for joining us here this morning. Just great stuff. Always appreciate Hunter for hopping on and giving us his insight. Make sure you're following him on Facebook and in Twitter. If you missed any portion of that conversation, we're going to put that one up on the Man Cave podcast. So that will be up on the Man Cave podcast here later on this morning. So okay, I know I've said this a few times over the last couple weeks. There's a lot of rumors. There's a lot of speculation about whether the Brewers are going to be making some moves, maybe going big game hunting. I'd rather be in this situation than not. I'd rather be sitting here talking about, and regardless of whether you want the Brewers to, quote, sell the farm or be big-time playmakers or big-time, players in the trade market and giving up a lot of prospects, whether you want them to do that or not, I'd rather be talking about that than not talking about that. Because if we're not talking about that, that means maybe we're either talking about them being sellers or we're not talking about making the playoffs. Give me this type of conversation every year. Every year. Because it means we're in contention. It means the Brewers are in contention. It means that they're competing for a championship, going back to the postseason. I'll take that any year, regardless if we want them to overpay or if we want them to be aggressive or not. I will take that conversation every single year because it means your team, it means the Brewers are in contention. And even on the Twins side, their GM is out there saying, we're going to be buyers. If you're a Twins fan, you got to be excited with, what level of excitement are you? Maybe it's kind of a little pessimistic, but they're not going to do anything. But, you got a team that's competing for a playoff spot. Isn't that what we want for all of our teams? Cubs, too. I'm a Brewers fan, and I know we're up a few games over the Cubs. I'm still nervous about the Cubs. They're playing really well. They're playing really well. And I know we got a lot of time before that, but I'll be honest. Cubs are probably a team I don't want to play in the postseason this year. But it's a fun time of the year to be talking about speculating and trying to predict what the heck is going to happen. I love it. We did go a little bit long with Hunter, which means we do have to play a little catch-up here. So, final thoughts on Brewers, Skubal. Would you push all your chips in? Tomorrow, we're going to make some predictions with Brandon. So we'll get some trade predictions if nothing happens in the next 24 hours. So start to think about some bold predictions when it comes to the MLB trade deadline, which is coming up again on Monday. So start to think about that. All right. we'll take a quick break because we're already less than a half an hour till the end of the program here. But final thoughts, hit me up. Shoot me a message, 715-830-1912, or hit us up on the Section 105 chat. We'll be right back after these quick words. Next Friday, we'll be out on the course for the 6th annual Kasper Classic to help benefit Backyard Dreams. And a huge thanks to everybody who has signed up their 2-person team to participate in the Classic. The title belts are sitting here. They're ready to find their new homes. But we can't do it without some of our fine partners. Presenting sponsor, Window World. We've got Park Ridge Distributing. Can't do it without the fine folks over there. Can't do it without our friends from Highview and Eau Claire, our meal sponsors. Can't do it without the rest of our partners, Muldoon's, Service Master, Edward Jones, Financial Advisor, Kelsey Nicolai, Dodge, Cambridge, Myron Construction, VFW Post 305, Superior Auto Body, Home Oasis, Residence Branding, Clayfa Construction, Carpet City Flooring Center, and Economy Furniture. Thank you for all of the support for Backyard Dreams. Thank you. I'm looking forward to next Friday out on the golf course. And a big thanks to Lake Hallie Golf Course for allowing us to be on the course and hosting us too. So big thanks to Troy and his entire team at Lake Hallie Golf Course. Looking forward to it next Friday. Okay, we only got about 17 minutes left to the top of the hour. Packers are going to be back out on the practice field here in just a little bit. All right, something to not Brewers related, but kind of local related. John Morosi just reporting, MLB Network, that the Blue Jays and Phillies are emerging as trade partners. Philly has multiple needs. Toronto has available veterans in those areas. Gausman, Bieber, Hoffman, Springer, and Dalton Varsho. So Dalton Varsho's name is being thrown out there, being mentioned as a potential trade candidate. We'll see if he's going to be on the move or not. But, again, not necessarily Brewers or even Twins related, but it definitely does have a local connection there. So we'll see, is Dalton Varsho going to be on the trade market? Speaking of that, Eau Claire Express picking up another win last night. The Express men are just rocking and rolling. If you have not been to an Express game yet, you're missing out. And we're going to be there tonight for another Tailgate Thursday game with the Eau Claire Express. I know Fan Deck is sold out, but GA's still available. Should be a nice night for baseball. Our last Tailgate Thursday, so if you want to pre-plan it, our last Tailgate Thursday game is going to be next Thursday, so a week from today. Yeah, the day before the outing. So if you want to pre-plan, if you can't make it tonight, or if you want to pre-plan and get your Fan Deck tickets or GA's for next Thursday, we'll be there for our final Tailgate Thursday game. But we'll be there tonight too. So if you look at where things currently stand for the Eau Claire Express, they're in first place in the Great Plains East, a 20-6 record this second half. That is the best record in the Northwoods League in this second half. All right, they're 3 games ahead of La Crosse, but remember, La Crosse, they won the first half. So next up is Rochester. They're 7 games back from Eau Claire. And who does Eau Claire play tonight? Rochester. There you have it. So inching closer and closer and closer. I mean, when you look at the overall records, if you want to add that into the equation here, Eau Claire's got one of the best overall records. Overall, throughout this whole season, that's something to kind of watch here, too, for a potential playoff matchup with La Crosse. La Crosse, 38-20 overall. Eau Claire, 38-21. So in terms of the most wins, that is tied for the most wins overall in the Northwoods League. Wausau is 38-19 overall. Lakeshore, 38-22. You look at that Great Lakes West Division, you've got 4 teams that have at least 33 or more wins. Madison won the first half. They got 34 overall wins. Green Bay's got 33 wins. Lakeshore's 38. Wausau's got 38 total wins. But the second half here, Lakeshore's 20. Wausau, Green Bay. Yeah, that's kind of a loaded division there too. So But looking forward to spending some time at the ballpark tonight at Carson Park. First pitch for tonight's game against Rochester. Be a big series to hopefully increase some more gap into that race for first place. We've got a first pitch coming up at 6:35 tonight. So we're going to make some picks coming up here, just game picks. We're going to do some trade predictions tomorrow when we got Brandon joining us here. We'll probably do a big time trade, Brewers trade breakdown with him. Oh no, what is this? This is an NBA thing, but LeBron James and ESPN reportedly closing in on his own version of The Last Dance. What? Copycat. Will I watch it? Probably. I'll get sucked into that too. But I don't think there's going to be as much drama as there was with MJ and the Bulls. And at least that one had time. I mean, this one that didn't come out till like years afterwards, and there was some underlying things going on defending champs. So I don't think it's going to be as good as the Bulls' Last Dance one. No, I don't think it is. It'll get ratings, it'll get views because it's LeBron, but it ain't gonna be as good as the Bulls one. No way. No way. Not happening. All right, we gotta take our final break and then we'll get some picks. Matt LaFleur just went to the podium here too, so when we come back, if there's anything of substance, we'll tell you what he had to say. Quick break, and we'll start to wrap up things after these few words. quick note, as Matt LaFleur is chatting with the media right now ahead of practice number 2 for training camp, Keyshawn Nixon will be out there. Just had some tightness in his hamstring, so they gave him the day, but it sounds like he will practice today. Burton, the rookie, though, same thing, but he will not practice. Felt some tightness, but he is not going to practice. Packers are working out some long snappers today, it sounds like, as well. So let's do some picks as we start to wrap this program up. We got baseball games. Obviously, the Brewers do not play today. Off day today for the Crew before they begin a 3-game series against the Angels tomorrow. But we've got the Rangers versus the Rays. Give me Tampa Bay. Kansas City versus the Twinnies. Give me the Twins. Yankees, White Sox. You know what? I'll go with the White Sox today. We got Cubs, Cardinals. Cardinals picking up a win last night in extra innings. Give me the Cardinals today. Let's go. Washington versus Atlanta. I'll go with the Braves. Miami, Mets. Miami. Pittsburgh versus the Reds. I'll go with the Pirates. We've got Boston and the Athletics. Let's go Boston. Giants versus the Padres. I'm going to go Padres. And then Seattle versus the Dodgers. I will go Dodgers for this one. All right, those are your picks for this morning. So, big thanks again to Hunter for joining us. If you missed that conversation, it is now up on the Man Cave podcast. So look it up wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, our website, wherever. It's Man Cave podcast is everywhere. So it's a little over 20 minutes, but a great conversation with Hunter as we kind of preview the upcoming trade deadline and go over some of the rumors and reports surrounding the Brew Crew. So big thanks again to Jake Bolks, Conservation Warden, for joining us for our Tailgate Outdoors. If you missed that conversation, that is up on the DK Show podcast, Dan Kasper Show podcast, available wherever, again, too, where you get your podcast. And that was already posted up. You can get the link easily on the Sports Talk Facebook page. Coming up tomorrow, we'll do some cream of the crop. We'll catch up with Dr. Crow for Inside the Training Room. We've got some AJM Automotive, Pump the Brakes, Full Throttle. Probably be very trade deadline heavy, as the trade deadline is coming up on Monday. Brandon and I will do kind of a trade primer as we get set for what could be a busy weekend with a lot of moves. Or maybe not a lot of stuff happens. We could be setting ourselves up for a ton of moves, and maybe nothing really happens. But I can tell you this: I am really buying into. I'm ready. I'm ready to be maybe disappointed, heartbroken. I get like this, I try to temper my expectations, whether it's a Packers trade rumor or now in this case with the Brewers. I initially try to temper my excitement, my hope, but then it wears off. The more I talk about it, the more I think about it, the more I read about it with rumors and reports. So I'm ready. Let's go. Let's do this thing. Let's bring in Scooble. While we're at it, let's bring in Mason Miller. Let's just do it all. Let's go. Yeah, it ain't all happening, but it's fun to think about. As a fan, why not? Why not? If it happens, if they pay a big price, okay. That'll maybe affect the future a little bit, but right now, I'm worried about the 2026 Milwaukee Brewers. As a fan, that's what I'm worried about. So we'll see. It's gonna be fun. Again, I'd rather be talking about this than selling off some of our players, or just kind of standing pat. And maybe they do stand pat. Maybe they are. Maybe they will stand pat. I don't know. All right, what else do we got coming up tomorrow? We'll do some local sports roundup brought to you by Carpet City Flooring Center with Mr. Berg. I know we got CRBL games and Legion baseball too, postseason. Brandon will help us break it all down coming your way tomorrow. But we'll preview the upcoming series with the Angels, recap anything from day 2 at Packers training camp, especially if it's something that's big, hopefully nothing bad, like knock on wood injuries. Hopefully that's not the case, but if anything does happen, we'll recap it and break it all down. Coming your way tomorrow morning. We'll be at the main camp brought to you by Tanglewood Greens. So that we'll make sure you follow the YouTube page so you can watch the video stream of that. So, but come ready with your insights and your input, and give me tomorrow. Here's your homework assignment for tomorrow, peeps. Give me some bold MLB. It doesn't necessarily have to be Brewers. It could be Twins. It could be Cubs. It could be any team. Give me some straight up bold predictions, trade deadline edition. I'm ready. Give me those bold predictions. Okay. What are you predicting is going to happen by the trade deadline on Monday? That is your homework assignment. Turn in your answers tomorrow morning, 6 to 10 Have a good rest of your day. Maybe we'll see you at the Express game tonight. Otherwise, we'll chat with you all tomorrow morning, 6 a.m.